Bow bow banger management fantasy hockey podcast. Woo!
Woo! Welcome in everybody to Banger Management, the fantasy hockey podcast. You got Kevin here, you got Josh here. Jakey's caught up with some work, but as always, the two best hosts are here after a long break. It feels like.
Yeah,
What, 3
we were
weeks?
looking at our calendar, and it's been 3 weeks. And honestly, I thought it was longer. It feels weird. We do this, so often during the regular season that
I
it feels
know.
weird being gone for even 3 weeks.
I was in Europe for 2 of those 3 weeks, so to me, like, flew by. It was like a week before I left, we were recording, and then I come back, we're recording again.
Yeah.
So it's like, just dropped off where things left off, I guess, if that's an English sentence,
It's
Um,
as English as most of our sentences.
yeah. But thank you everybody for being here. For those of you that are here, I know it's the off season, so people are not necessarily dialed into the hockey content just yet. But this is the first building block of the off season for us. We're gonna start getting into all the content leading into the season that starts in a few months. We're gonna give you all that draft content soon. We're gonna give you all the rankings, all the division breakdowns, all the good stuff. But today we have a lot to cover on what happened this off season
Yeah.
already. Like it feels like everything happened in a few weeks, and we got some blockbusters.
Yeah, we had some crazy stuff happen. So this summer recap episode might be a bit long, and it's funny that we're doing the summer recap midway. I mean, it's not even August yet. We're doing the summer recap, but it's just crazy. I mean, honestly, a lot of this stuff happened in the first few days.
Yeah,
let alone the
exactly.
first
People
few
were
weeks.
waiting.
It was crazy. So I'm excited to dive into it. I know a lot of people at the time were like, when are you guys gonna start, talk about this
Yeah.
stuff? And I think it's nice that we let it simmer for a bit. We let a bit more stuff happen. We let stuff calm down a bit because a lot of the moves affect some of the other moves. So yeah, I'm excited to dive right into this.
We'll start with the heavy hitters, and we'll work our way down to like the smaller hitters, if we can say that.
the light hitters, lightweights.
But yeah, we're gonna go over all the trades. We're gonna go over the player signings, like all the free agent stuff too. And then also we have some injuries to cover and some coaching changes to cover. So a big boy today, a big meaty boy.
Yeah, there's a lot of content.
Yeah. And before we get into it, if you guys are here rocking with us, you probably already follow us on all our social media or the Discord. So if you're not already doing that, drop us a follow. We're going to drop some news on the Banger Management Community Leagues in the coming weeks. I know some other communities have already started theirs. Ours is going to be better, and it's going to be coming soon. I'm not biased at all, I promise.
I mean, look, it convinced me. I'm hopping from our other league to the Banger Management League, so I'm very excited for these. I think it's going to be awesome. I think we've got a lot of other exciting stuff in the works for this coming year. Year 1 to 2, we took a big jump, and year 2 to 3, we're taking an even bigger jump. So I'm really excited to share with all you guys what we've been cooking up this off season and to keep cooking it up. So I think that's a lot of preface, but I think we should dive in because there's a lot to talk about.
Let's talk about all the stuff we have to talk about.
All right, let's do it. Let's start with trades. So the biggest trade of the offseason. Florida acquires Brady Tkachuk from Ottawa for 3 first-round picks and a second-round pick. This was insane. I remember I was at my cousin's wedding when this trade got dropped, and I was just like, I need to talk to someone about this. This is crazy. I couldn't believe it, honestly. I had to, when I got home, I was like, I opened every single thread about it, and I was like, just reading everyone's reactions, and it's just, it's crazy. It's also not crazy because you're like, oh, he went to play with his brother, and there's the whole Team USA players all just want to force their way to one of the 3 teams, blah, blah, blah. But it's still crazy, right? Because, it's stuff like this hasn't really happened until this past year. So anyways, regardless of how crazy it is, what are the impacts of it? What was your first reaction when you saw this? Let's say first for real world both teams, and then we'll get into fantasy.
For real world both teams, I feel for Ottawa because I feel like they should have got a player in return or something, right? Like I feel like the majority of the value was made up of picks, and Ottawa was a fringe playoff team this season. So it's like I thought this had to happen like right before the draft as well. So I was like, maybe they'll use the picks as leverage for another trade to get a player. Like they didn't do any of that. So
I mean, they did. It'll be coming up in a few, but
Yeah.
they did use some of those picks to pick up William Eklund from San Jose. So that's not nothing, but it's not a
but
Brady
you're like,
Tkachuk.
you're not filling the Brady Tkachuk hole with a
Yeah.
William Eklund, and I love Eklund,
Yeah.
but it's not the same. And I feel like my take also, and I think I posted this on our socials, on behalf of the whole podcast. So if we get roasted, it's everybody, not just me. But I felt like Brady was a better fantasy player than real NHL player. So there's a world where I feel like maybe the team is better off without him. Not better off without him, but I feel like the loss is not as big as the magnitude of losing your captain and like I think there's arguably better players on Ottawa than Brady Tkachuk. You could argue
I think Stützle's better. I think
Yeah.
Stützle's better. I think straight up. I think that's a really good point because for us, me, we have such a strong fantasy hockey lens, even though we're also huge regular hockey fans, that you think Brady Tkachuk, you think, oh, top 4 or 5 pick, because we also only talk bangers, right? So he's like, we're like, this is insane. This is like McKinnon or McDavid getting traded in fantasy, but in real life, he's nowhere near those guys. Like you just said, I think Stützle's a better player than him, so not even the best player on his team. It is a massive loss because of, like you said, also, they didn't get any players back. I think Florida kind of had them where they wanted, like they had no leverage. He said, I only want to go to Florida and I'm not going to re-sign with you. So they got a good return, like value-wise, 3 firsts and a second is good value. But in terms of, is this going to help them make the playoffs this coming year? No, it's not. So definitely Florida obviously becomes even scarier. He fits perfectly with their identity. He gets to play with his brothers, so who knows how that unlocks him. So I think, obviously real life, and Florida clearly is just thinking short term here, right? Like they're not, so many of the contracts they've been signing and stuff they've been doing, like they know they're in their cup window. They made it to 3 finals in a row, getting 2 Stanley Cups, and then they missed the playoffs last year and lucked into like a high draft pick because they just had crazy injuries. But this coming year, they should easily be a cup contender. So this was a very, very solid move for Florida for the coming couple of years.
For fantasy, do you think this changes anything for him at all?
So that's a good point. Let's start with Brady himself. I think he's still going to be power play 1 on Florida. I do think that I could see him having.
It's harder now, though.
I think that it's definitely, his power play could only go down because he was guaranteed power play on Ottawa, and Ottawa had a better power play than Florida. Ottawa had a really, really good power play.
Florida was missing Barkov and
sure, but
they have no power play quarterback.
Yeah, no, 100%. But even with all that, Ottawa's was so good that you could only really go down, especially with now the uncertainty. Like, who's going to be on that power play for Florida? You've got Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, Reinhart.
That's the 3. That's the core 3.
Then they're going to have a defenseman. They don't do 5 forwards usually.
It's either Ekblad or Seth Jones.
I think Seth Jones usually has the edge, but regardless, so you have 4 there. And then there's the spot that's either going to be Brady Tkachuk or it's going to be...
It'll probably be Brady.
It'll probably be Brady, because who are the other options? Marchand or Verhaeghe or something like that?
Marchand, Verhaeghe, Lundell, Bennett.
Oh, Bennett, actually. He was power play 1 for a
Bennett
long part of it.
Bennett takes the hit there, too. Like, I think they're going to put Brady on there. They're not going to have Brady when there's no, like, clear 5th option.
That's it. I think especially you don't pay 3 firsts and a second for a guy who's not going to be on your first power play unit. So I think Brady has it, but... on Ottawa, if Ottawa's power play ever, like, stuttered, Brady was never going to get taken off it. In Florida, if the power play is not clicking, other than switching the defenseman, the first forward who's getting bumped off is Brady, because you're not bumping off any of those other 3 guys.
No.
So I think that it's very possible that his power play just stays the same, but that's the best case scenario. Worst case is he either gets bumped off completely or he just doesn't he might just not be as involved in the power play, right? Like in Ottawa, he was more of a...
He's going to be a front guy for sure.
Absolutely. So let's say power play, he'll be, let's say that's a slight L depending on what happens. In terms of regular points, I mean, he's also going to be a bit more buried in the lineup. He'll be second line, probably playing with his brother. I can see Bennett and both Tkachuks on a line, something like that.
I can see, I was going to say, it's either Bennett with both Tkachuks or like he plays first line with Barkov and Reinhart.
Yeah, I could see that as well.
And he adds like a physical element to that line.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's not a line that works. I feel like Barkov and Reinhart have like a finesse to them, like feels like a brain player, and you have like Brady who feels kind of like a no brain player. And that second line is the no brain line. So
yeah, exactly. That's the injury line, because they're just going to injure all their opponents.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, I guess what it comes down to with both like even strength power play is that he's no longer the guy, right? On Ottawa, he was the guy. On Florida, he's like the 5th guy. So again, Florida's a better all-around team than Ottawa.
Yeah.
But in terms of fantasy, I feel like he'll probably be what, between 0.8 and 0.9 points per game.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like his points could go up.
Okay.
But I'm worried about his bangers.
Okay.
I'm worried about his bangers because if I just feel like we saw this with Matthew Tkachuk too. Like after he got traded to Florida, he had less of the physicalness of his game. Like he had less PIMs, he had less hits, and that was just because he's a very talented player. They want him to stay on the ice. They don't want him to be the boneheaded guy making all those bad plays, right? I think Brady, if he's playing with Barkov and Reinhart, he can't be costing that line. Like they're gonna keep him in check. So I feel like maybe he'll have a less physical presence because his thresholds were already so high. Like he was shooting he was a 4-4 at times.
Yeah,
I can see him being like a 3-2. Like I think that's in the range of outcomes for Brady.
I think that I don't think
like,
Hits is gonna.
I'd be too scared to draft him in the first round. Unless it's like a late first round.
Yeah, I don't think Hits is going to take a hit, no pun intended. I think that, it's just part of his game. And even on a line with Barkov and Reinhart, he would probably be there to, forecheck, get hit in, steal the puck, and get it to those guys. So hits I'm not as worried about. Shots I think is a big worry because if he's playing with those guys are going to be the ones taking the shots, right? I mean, Barkov is a great passer, but still, and also if he's playing with his brother and with Bennett, I feel like Matthew Tkachuk's gonna be taking all those shots, or So I think I'm worried about shots and PIMs also. I could see it starting off where he's like crazy for PIMs because him and his brother are just like pumped to be playing together and they're just being bash brothers, whatever. But I think at a certain point in Ottawa, he was costing the team a lot with these penalties, right? And Florida's not going to tolerate that. His brother's going to be like, look, listen, it's all fun and games, be physical, whatever. But if you're taking penalties that are costing us goals against and costing us games, then you got to get in check. So I could definitely see reason to be worried there. I guess at the end of the day, it just feels like he was such a perfect bangers player that that a major change of scenery like this could only be kind of detrimental.
It throws like wrenches into the wheels that like I'm just like now there's too many elements that I can't predict.
Yeah,
the variance goes up. Are you willing to take a first round pick?
That's it,
on a guy that like you don't know what it could be. Like it could be status quo.
Yeah,
or it could be worse. It feels like it can't get better, right?
Yeah, I guess the only way it gets better is if he finds a way to maintain all his bangers. And you did say like that there's a chance you think his points go up with the change, which makes sense because, again, if he's playing with better players.
Florida scores more points, he'll be involved in more points.
That's it. So that's the scenario that people who take him in the first round are going to be banking on. They're going to be saying, I think his bangers stay the same because he's had that consistency throughout his career. And then his points should go up because he's on a better team. So, I mean, look, that's definitely a possibility. I would still take him in the first round. I don't know where I'm comfortable taking him in the first round.
Like, would you take Makar or Brady?
I got to take Makar.
You got to take Makar, right? And Makar's like picks like 6 to 8 type of thing.
Yeah, and
would
Brady,
you think Matthews or Brady?
That's a tough one. Because I'm not sure how I feel about Matthews this coming year. I'm just I'm tired of the injuries and whatever, and Martin gone, but McKenna in. He's got his own whole story, right? And obviously he had a really down year last year. But that's a question. That's a question for sure. And before the trade, I'm taking Brady 100% of the time.
Same.
So I think that it's a really good point that at the end of the day, we're not saying he's guaranteed going to be worse. It's more just question marks, and question marks are scary when it's like the 5th overall pick. So I think that's kind of.
And we're talking pure bangers leagues right now.
Yeah, of course.
Because if he loses his PIMs, like he was averaging like what 1.5 PIMs ish.
Yeah.
If he falls to like a 0.7, 5.8, like that's still great, but it's not like what makes Brady a unicorn. Yeah. And if his shots dip to like 3, he loses that unicorn as well. And if his hits hover around 2.5 or 2, I just feel like he'll still be a fantastic player, but then you're kind of taking too many chunks away from all the stuff that made him really special.
Yeah.
And that
and
other players might just be more worth it.
It's the opportunity cost, right? Like when you take Brady in the first round, you're passing up on about like 40 points. Right, because you're taking 5th overall, you could be taking a Kaprizov, a Makar, a Pasta, whatever. So you're giving up the points, but you're getting back those shots, hits, PIMs, right? In addition with decent points. But now, if you're not sure about that, it's kind of more scary to just give up those guaranteed 40 points. So, but let's talk about
our banger league. Would you take Celebrini or?
I'm taking Celebrini. I think he's
no question,
sick.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think he's unreal. But yeah, so I think that's a good wrap on Brady, but let's talk about quickly how the surrounding cast gets affected by this. So let's start with Florida.
Okay.
I think the biggest L is whoever gets bumped off power play 1, right?
Yeah,
so
Bennett for sure.
Yeah, if Bennett was the guy there, so if Brady takes his spot, which he should, that's a big L for Bennett points wise and power play points wise. And I don't think Brady's enough of a points guy to like. So even if he ends up on Bennett's line at even strength, I don't think that's going to give him much of a boost of even strength points versus last year. So overall, I think Bennett's the big loser for this trade on Florida's side. And then in terms of Ottawa, I feel like this opens up a spot on power play 1. Who's taking that spot? Is it just Eklund who just got traded there? Probably, right? We'll get to that trade in a few, but I think that's probably the biggest.
I like this for Ottawa. I feel like all the players get a boost because I feel like where Brady was soaking up a lot of the stats, I feel like now all those stats that he had get liberated onto the rest of the team, like the shot opportunities and the deployment and the minutes on the ice. Like we saw Ottawa, like their top line averaged like 17 minutes or something like that, whereas the top line in every other team is averaging like 20 minutes plus. Yeah. So I feel like now maybe they can consolidate their value a little bit, let their best players be on the ice for longer periods of time, and maybe that helps the guys like Stützle, like Dylan Cousins, like Batherson. I think those guys could really thrive.
Yeah, I think the biggest one to me is going to be Stützle. I think that now he's really being thrust like not that there was much question beforehand, but like it was Brady's team, and Stützle was probably the best skill forward, but Brady brought other stuff, whatever. Now, no question, no doubt in anyone's mind, Stützle is the best player on Ottawa, and he's going to have to carry that load, whatever, like the weight of being that best player, and I think he's going to rise to the occasion. So I'm very interested in Stützle. I'll take him. Is round 2 too early, you think, or is that?
I think he's like a round 3 player.
Round 3, yeah. So somewhere like late second, early third to me is kind of where I think he goes, and I think he's going to be really solid value this year.
Would you take Tim Stützle or Braden Point?
I would take Stützle.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next trade because, again, we could just talk. That was just so crazy. We could talk about it forever. But here's another big one. So we had Chicago acquired Bowen, Byram, and Jordan Greenway from Buffalo for the 4th overall pick, a second rounder, and Louis Crevier. I'll tell you, I've never had such a visceral reaction to a trade that didn't involve the Habs as much as this one. I was going everywhere. I was telling everyone, Chicago got fleeced. They're idiots. What are they doing? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And now, like 2 months later, I feel the exact same way, especially after that ridiculous contract, which we'll get into in the signings. But they literally, how do you make this trade, right? First of all, okay, you're trading the 4th overall plus, right? You're getting back a cap dump. And then the goal of it all is to get Bowen Byram, a guy who's never quarterbacked a power play, never gotten anywhere near, a top, like, what was his highest season? 50 points? 40-something points?
It wasn't something that you were writing home about.
No, this is insane. For that package, like, and then it came out after that there was a bidding war on Byram, and San Jose wanted him too, and they were offering the 9th overall, and it's like, I guess, he was drafted highly. He's always been in the shadow of another guy. He was in the shadow of Makar, in the shadow of Dahlin. I get why people are willing to like bet on him, but at the same time, that's a crazy bet to make. And then to top it all off with this entire package that Chicago gave up for him, they didn't even do a sign and trade. So now you have Byram on your team. His agent knows how much you just gave up to get him. His contract ends after this year, and he's like, I have all the negotiating power. If you don't sign me now, you look like the biggest idiot in the world. So he's like, why don't you give me more than Connor McDavid is making? And they're like, okay. And that's what happened. So Bowen Byram's now making more than Connor McDavid. The guy has never hit, like, McDavid has like 10 times as many points as him. This is crazy. Obviously, the McDavid contract you can't compare it to because he took it at such a, like, he purposely took less. But it's just funny to contrast.
They can sign, they can give more money to Jake Wallman and Trent Frederick.
Yeah, exactly.
So, at least they got that done. And
that was huge for them. But yeah, so anyways, this is nuts. In terms of, if you take that out of it, though, you take what it took to get him and his contract that he signed to, fantasy-wise, I think Byram's going to be sick this year. I've always said, and I always have and always will say, follow that money. And there's never been more money to follow for someone so unproven before. I think he's the clear, this is not even, I think he's obviously the power play 1 quarterback for the next, I don't remember, it was a 5-year contract, however many years.
6.
6-year contract. And He's going to play with Bedard. They're I think they're close. I don't know. They were very excited that, they were calling each other and excited they're playing together. He's going to have every opportunity given to him. He has no competition on Chicago anyways. And I think that it's going to be a really, really good season for him. So the only thing I'm worried about is possibly his ADP being too high because of how in your face this is, right? This is not like some hidden, like, oh, here's a secret move that happened. And, now this is like the most in your face thing ever. So maybe people overreach for him because of that, but he's going to have a very good season, I think.
I feel like he'll be a guy that gets drafted in like the 5th or 6th round. Probably be like defenseman like 12 to 16 is my guess right now off of where like the ADP is going to be.
Yeah.
For fantasy, I think it's great. The actual trade, like you said, I don't have to go into it again, but I also thought it was awful. Like, I understand because Chicago has been like this middling team with Bedard for so long that they want to take a step.
Middling is generous.
Yeah, you know what? It was very generous.
Yeah.
They've been this dog water team for so long.
There you go.
And that they needed to make some kind of move to, break that barrier type of thing,
Oh my God.
So this is the move that they're going to make, and they have no choice.
On YouTube.
Subscribe on YouTube if you want to see what I just did.
Yeah.
But I think his fantasy value will be great. I'm just, man. I understand it, but it's still. I feel you could have done way better with the 4th overall pick.
Yeah,
but also
absolutely.
You played the situation, so.
Absolutely. And I guess another reason why it's so frustrating for us is because we're Habs fans and Buffaloes are in our division.
Yeah.
And they were already first in the division this year, and now they just got this gift. And
But the 4th overall pick, was it going to contribute for them like this year or next year?
That's
like
fair.
Probably not, right? And they are already this team that's trying to make the leap. So that's why I understand it, but it still feels rich.
Yeah. I guess also another thing that I don't get is
the
that
second, like, why'd they have to add the second?
Yeah, 100%. Why'd they have to take Jordan Greenway as a cap dump too? Why'd they have to add Louis Crevier as a third pairing D? Anyways, but another thing one last thing on this in terms of why it's an awful trade. Everyone in the world knew that Byram was never going to do anything on Buffalo and that he wanted out, right? So how did Buffalo have the leverage to make this type of trade? Really, what they did was, what it seems like from stuff coming out after, is they just started a bidding war between San Jose and Chicago and maybe
everybody
a couple other teams.
Byram, come and get him.
That's it. And so it's one of those things that it starts out as like, oh, I'm going to message Buffalo about Byram because he clearly doesn't have a spot there. I think he has potential. Maybe I can get a good deal done. And then it becomes like, oh my God, everyone wants Byram. I need to get him. I have to give up anything to get him. And then you end up with a trade like this. There's also one last thing, a caveat of the GM of Chicago obviously knows that he's going to get fired if they don't make some sort of progress this year. And so this is a classic GM towards the end of his tenure. Exactly. Yeah. And that ends up screwing over teams so much. So we'll see what happens. I think it makes the team better, obviously, this year because they traded a pick who wasn't going to play for a guy who's going to be their power play 1 quarterback. But we'll see if Byram could step up and make up for that trade and deal.
This next trade, I think, is arguably worse.
Yeah. And let's go to this next one then. All right. Vinny Trocheck is acquired by Utah, and the Rangers get Sean Durzi, Cole Baudouin, and a 3rd round pick. I will say, leading up to this, all the news was Rangers are not accepting anything less than a 1st round pick for Vinny
It was like
Trocheck.
They want multiple 1st round picks for Trocheck. Yeah. Like, I had Trocheck last year. Like, they could have just traded him at the deadline. They probably would have gotten more than what they got here, right? So I'm like, what happened? Like, was it just smoke the whole time? And then they were like, all right, fine. He really wants out. And now everybody else that was in on him already made their moves. So now we have nobody to trade him to.
I feel like it can't be that because it feels like there's so many top teams that are still desperate for a center, right? So I feel like the market was still there. Yeah, the market was still there. There was crazy trades happened earlier on. Byram for 4th overall, stuff like that was happening all around. People were willing to shell out. And especially because I think all these trades are happening because the free agent market was so bad. So when you have an asset and the free agent market is so bad, that should make the asset even more valuable. So 3rd round pick is nothing. Sean Durzi makes no sense for the Rangers because they have Adam Fox. If you're not getting him to try and turn him into like, a Bo Byram situation where like the guy never had a shot at power play 1 really, let's give him the shot, whatever. Like what is he doing? I've heard that Baudouin's a solid prospect, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know. I feel like this was very underwhelming for the Rangers, but for Utah, I'm very excited for them, and I'm very curious what's going to happen with Logan Cooley and Vinny Trocheck because that's their 2 centers, right? Their top 2, and
I mean, and they have Nick Schmaltz. Don't forget, like, Schmaltz
I think the point of this,
center.
I think the point of this was to move Schmaltz back to the wing. I don't think they want Schmaltz playing center. I think that was out of necessity. So I see Trocheck and Cooley being line 1 and 2 center, but I'm not sure which one's going to be which. And another question is who's
I
going
don't
to be
even know
power
if it
play 1?
matters.
For even strength? Well, I mean, it matters because whoever's playing with...
one plays with Keller, one plays with Gunther. Like, you'll be happy either way.
You know what? That's true. Their top 6 is solid. Let's say even strength is not as important, but power play 1, who's getting that spot, right? It's going to be Keller, it's going to be Schmaltz, it's going to be Sergachev, and it's going to be Genther, and then who's number 5? Is it Cooley or Trocheck?
I think they're going to give it to Cooley.
Cooley didn't have it all year last year.
I know. I think they want Cooley to grow into that 1C, but also... The thing with Trocheck is that he's so good at faceoffs, and having a faceoff specialist on the power play to like start in the offensive zone is like crucial. So I can see them doing that, but also like the same argument was there for the Rangers that didn't always have him on power play 1. So
yeah, but they also had a lot of other They had like 3 centers on power play 1, right? They had
JT.
Miller, they had Zibanejad. Like it's not like they Utah's a very young team. I don't think that, I think Schmaltz did an adequate job at faceoffs and stuff, but I think a guy like Trocheck, I don't know, I could see him getting it over Cooley.
I'll for fantasy, I hope, but it sucks because one of these 2 guys are going to have their ceiling capped, and these are 2 guys that are very fantasy relevant.
Yeah,
so
at least with
it's
Trocheck,
unfortunate.
If he doesn't have power play 1, he's still a banger's beast, right?
Yeah.
So,
but I wouldn't have dropped him when I drafted him last year.
No, absolutely not. But you're still like very happy to have him on your team. Cooley's a points guy. If he's not on power play 1, I have no interest in having him on my team. Who
would you draft first in fantasy between the 2? Cooley went in the 8th round last year. Trocheck I drafted him in the 3rd.
Unless like word comes out during preseason, whatever. I mean, preseason's barely like he got cut 2 games, so whatever. But like practice lines coming out, whatever, and it's like a no brainer that Cooley's power play 1 because I do think I do still I like them a lot last offseason. I like them a lot again this offseason. I think they're gonna have really great offensive output.
I think their actual team now is sick.
I think so. I fully agree. I think they can use some help maybe at defense. I don't think it's the most deep defensive core, but I think offense-wise, they're really sick, and it's going to be really fun for fantasy. So if I know Cooley's power play 1, I would take Cooley over Trocheck, but like that floor of Trocheck's bangers, whereas Cooley's not going to do much for you in other categories. So it's a risk that, depending on where in the draft, I'm probably more likely to take Trocheck, but if I'm going for that high upside pick, then definitely Cooley.
All right, let's move on to this next one.
Let's do it. All right, the Florida Panthers acquire Jacob Markstrom from.
Were you about to say Jacob Markstrom?
Yeah, I was like, is this a Jacob or a Jacob? But no, it's a Jacob Markstrom. Yeah, from New Jersey for Evan Rodriguez, Jesper Bourque. There you go. There's your J that sounds like a yay, and Alex Steves. So. This is an end to the Markstrom era in New Jersey. I think that they're happy to get rid of him. And New Jersey fans were super excited to get Jesper Bourque back. I don't know why. I think he was just a fan favorite last time he was there. And so they're really excited about that. And Florida decided that they're moving on from Bob and that Markstrom is their guy now. So that'll be really interesting to see. What do you think about Markstrom's value next year? Where do you put him in terms of goalies?
I'm going to be in on Markstrom. I think he's going to be one of those middle round goalies that, like, if I did draft a goalie, I'd be open to it because I just think this Florida team is going to win a F load of games.
Yeah.
So if he's the main guy there, like they completely revamped their goalie room in 2 days, it felt like.
Yeah.
And I think they did it so spectacularly as well. It felt like everything just fit perfectly and it was not expensive. And they have 2 guys that I could see like having if they were in form, like playing well and just being a starter and me being comfortable starting them in fantasy. So I think Markstrom is going to be I liked him better this year than I liked him last year.
Oh yeah, no question about that. I think that I wonder if he's going to be underrated by some because of how bad Florida was last year. Maybe people won't remember that they had also tons of injuries and that they're a cup contending team and that they only got better in the offseason. Okay, so maybe he won't be underrated, but maybe people will underrate him because he was so bad last year.
I was going to say his performance is still in question. Like, does he still have it? That's going to be the question as opposed to like, is the team good? Yeah,
that's fair. But I think that, I think you could put me in nets for Florida and I can get a solid amount of wins. That's it. Well, Jake can stop McDavid breakaways.
I was going to say, so they're probably going 82-0.
Yeah, exactly. But so Markstrom I think is going to be he's easily a top 10 goalie next year in my opinion. Maybe not easily, but I think because of the team, I think he should end up in the top 10 there. I don't know if he'll get drafted there though. So you might be able to get him for value in the early mid rounds. I don't know.
Okay, two things. That what we just said made me think of a scene from I don't know if have you ever seen the superhero movie with Drake Bell? It's like a scary movie type of thing.
Okay.
Have you ever seen
No, I
that?
haven't
No.
seen it. No.
He's like the dragonfly, and it's like a parody on Spider-Man.
Okay.
Well, but he's like facing off against this guy, and the guy that he's facing off is the villain's called the Hourglass, and he throws like these like just metal things, and he's like, these can like cut through diamonds, and he goes, I'm not wearing any diamonds. I was like, Jakey can stop McDavid's shots. Too bad he's not always playing against McDavid like every game or something. I don't know, that's how my mind went.
That's genius. I love that.
Now the next thing is, who would you draft first, Jacob Markstrom or Kyrou Vejmelka?
I would take Markstrom. And I love some Vejmelka. I think Vejmelka's a way better goalie. I think I'm very high on Utah next year. But I think, like you said, everyone thinks Florida's the best, and it's hard to argue.
I think I'd go Vejmelka. Because I think Vejmelka's a better goalie. I think his team is good enough that even if he gets less wins, I think the percentages are going to be safer. Don't forget, Markstrom was like
so bad.
Bad.
I know.
And the team was bad as well. Like, they didn't set him up to succeed. And like when stuff gets bad, it's like the snowball effect.
It's just hard because like Utah's in a very difficult division, and I'm not saying Florida's not, but Florida's just that good that I'm like way more confident in the team. But to your point, I am way more confident in Vejmelka as a goalie. And I think there's zero world where Vejmelka loses the starting job. I think if Markstrom plays terribly, Akira Schmid could just pick up, like starts.
They did trade for Sebastian Cossa, which is just like a young prospect that I think is going to have the opportunity to like learn and get some NHL reps and grow into the role in the future. Yeah. But I was surprised when they did that trade. I didn't think Utah was in the goalie market, but I understand it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that's a good would you rather. I still think I go Markstrom just for the team, but I think I think Vejmelka. Like, who do you think goes earlier in drafts? Let alone who would you take?
I think Markstrom goes earlier.
I think Markstrom goes earlier too.
He's got the name value of just like his name, even though he's doo-doo, has more pull, and I think it's the Florida goalie. Yeah,
100%. So with that in mind, I'd take Vejmelka later than like I'd be happier taking Vejmelka where he goes as opposed to Markstrom where he goes. But either way, it doesn't matter to me because I'm not drafting goalies, baby.
I was gonna say, neither of us are drafting goalies. So.
All right, let's go to the next one. This was a big one. I mean, these are all big ones. But New York Rangers acquire Pavel Dorofeyev from the Vegas Golden Knights for 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick. This was nuts. Vegas was scrambling for cap, and we were all waiting to see how are they going to make it work to fit this guy under the cap, and their answer was, we're just not going to fit him. And to me, I think this is a massive mistake from Vegas. Yeah. I mean, I know the reason that they signed Rasmus Andersson to that deal is because apparently they had like a handshake agreement at the deadline or whatever, and so like I guess I don't know if it's illegal or what, or like just a huge like D move, but they were going to follow through with it. But if you ask me, like, would I rather have Rasmus Andersson at that contract or found not taken him and kept Dorofeyev and shipped off a player to make up the different like $4 million difference? I'm taking Dorofeyev 1,000,000,000% of the time. I think that's a huge fumble by Vegas, and they mismanage their cap. And I think you don't have. It's not very often you have a 40 goal scorer who's as young as Dorofeyev and just up and coming and just going to improve. So I think this was a huge fumble by Vegas, and I hate the Rangers because of the whole Kreider Price thing back in the day. Yeah. So I just hate that they were the ones who were able to benefit from this. But yeah, I think this is a great move from the Rangers.
I hope that he can have as much success on the Rangers that he did in Vegas. But I agree. I think this is just Vegas. One of the few stumbles that, and they're going to be fine. Vegas is always fine. Yeah. But I agree. I think Rasmus Andersson gets paid too much. I think, especially the last year and the last year and a half, I would say, like, it's very underwhelming. I feel like he's lost a lot of the pizzazz of like what made him like a sought after defenseman. Yeah. So it's really, I don't want to say it's really unfortunate. Like, I'm happy he's getting his bag, but it kind of feels like he's lost what made him worth that. And Vegas is stuck with that now, and I think Dorofeyev walks, and they're gonna miss all those goals a lot. He's still gonna outscore Protis, but it might be a closer race now than when he was
I will
on Vegas.
Say, fantasy wise, I think this is a big L for Dorofeyev. I think he could still be very valuable and be a good person to have on your team, but on Vegas, it felt like he was a lock for 40 plus goals. He had Mitch Marner, Jack Eichel, all those guys setting him up on power play one. It didn't even matter
he's still going to be power play one.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's just who's he with?
I mean, he's with JT, he's with Zibanejad, and he's with Adam Fox. I think that's a good enough core that like you can still like he's slotting into what Panarin was.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's gonna be the three guys you said. It's gonna be Dorofeyev, and it'll probably be Lafreniere this year finally.
Yeah,
but
unless he sucks, then they'll put Will Cooley there.
I think Gabe Perreault's more
Or
likely,
Perreault
but yeah, that's way worse than Vegas' power play one. I'm sorry. I know that no disrespect, Adam Fox is great. I think Zibanejad, he had a fantastic season last year, but we were kind of like, when's the decline going to start? So I'm still iffy on if he's going to have another great season. JT obviously had an awful season last year, and I hate him. So I think Dorofeyev could still put up 40 goals. I think he still can be super successful on that power play. He's going to be the trigger guy because he's got an unreal shot.
Don't forget, he was awful for 2 months last year.
Yeah.
He was on my fantasy team right after I traded for him.
Yeah. No, so like, I just think that it's an L for him. I think no matter what way you look at it, it's an L for him. But like I said, I would still take him on my team. I wouldn't take him as high as I would have otherwise.
Honestly, I'm willing to say it could be neutral. Like to me, like Brady Tkachuk changing teams in my mind, there's like no way it's not a L in some capacity, even if it's a slight L. For Dorofeyev, I'm open minded to say like I can see him just being the same.
That's crazy for me. Like I view it
like
flipped. Like to me, Brady, I'm like I can see him being the same, but
really?
Dorofeyev, I'm like I don't see how this is not worse. Like he had Mitch Marner and Jack Eichel. I'm sorry, none of the guys you listed on the Rangers.
But we know Rangers have had a
Rangers
killer
finished
power play
last in their division.
I know, but
Vegas made it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
We also know that the Rangers power play still has the main pieces to be a really good power play.
The main pieces, they lost their best player.
They're missing Panarin, but their power play can still be good, I think. And I think Dorofeyev is a good enough player that he's not just like feeding off of his surrounding cast. Like I think he brings stuff to the table as well that makes the power play good.
No, I
Vegas' power play was good because he was there slapping in one-timers in the top corner, you know? Like, who's going to be scoring those goals on Vegas now?
Well, now I think Jack Eichel might actually have to shoot the puck again. I think that actually
I don't know if Jack Eichel can shoot the way Dorofeyev shoots like that.
I mean, not the same way, but Eichel in the past has been a great scorer, and then this past year he's kind of gotten some flack for not scoring as much and more assists. So I wonder if Dorofeyev leaving means he'll shoot more. But yeah, no. I could see it being a net neutral. I'm
just saying I'm open-minded to the possibility that it's not necessarily only a negative.
Okay, but it can't possibly be a positive.
I think there's a world where it can be positive.
Oh my god,
slight positive, yes, but I think he could be talismanic for this Rangers team. I think there's a world where that could happen. On Vegas, he was never going to be talismanic. They have too many other stars that are good. I think on the Rangers, JT's not that guy anymore. Zibanejad could be good. If he's playing with Dorofeyev, I think that could be a duo. I don't know.
But have you considered that the Rangers could just suck again?
I know, but there's always like fantasy relevant players and guys that are...
Yeah, but I just mean, Look,
maybe the one line is good and then you get scored on every other time, you know?
Like I said, I'm not saying that Dorofeyev is going to be bad, and we can disagree. I just don't see any way where this is not an L for him. But it could be a slight L. Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, you've already lost it many times. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, wait, quickly, who do you think takes Dorofeyev's spot on power play one on Vegas?
On Vegas? Ooh, let me go see. On Vegas, it's going to be Eichel, Marner. They'll probably put a D on there to start. Stone, that's 4. So it's going to be what? Hurdle.
So it'll be Theodore who takes the spot then.
Yeah.
They'll go from 5 forwards to 4 forwards and a D.
There's a world where, like, after this episode goes live or before the season starts, like, Hurdle's not on the Vegas anymore. So that's
definitely true. But
then
as it stands right
now,
like
Carlson or Olofsson or something. Barbashev.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, I'm not going to be... I'll stream them, but I don't think they're going to be like a guy you're drafting highly.
Do you feel comfortable drafting Shea Theodore with the hope that he would be power play 1?
No, because he's got 0 banger category coverage at all. And already the power play 1 was so risky. He's the type of guy that I draft where I drafted Erik Karlsson last year. And I'm thrilled to have him in like the 14th round or something like that.
Yeah.
He's going to get drafted way higher than that because he always does. He has a name value of like, it's the power play 1 defenseman on Vegas.
I don't know. After last year, he might not.
I hope people are finally catching up. If you're in the banger community, you're not going to make that mistake in drafting him in like the 8th round or something like people were doing last year.
Absolutely. But 14th round, I'm taking him for sure.
Yeah?
Just for the chance, because...
I mean, at that point, it's a dart throw, so...
That's it. If he's on power play 1, you laugh, and if not, you drop him and move on.
Theodore in the 14th or Gostisbehere in the 18th? Like, is Gostisbehere going to be going that late again? Is
I don't think so.
Also going to be going that late again? Like, I got him in the 16th.
No, I don't think Karlsson or Gostisbehere go as late as they did. I think that we both got some crazy steals there. Like, they were too good. Gostisbehere, I think the whole just winning the Stanley Cup put a big
hmm
spotlight on him, and I think he's not going to be as under the radar as he usually is. And I think Carlson just had way too good of a season to get taken that late again. So, but in that, if that does happen, yeah, I'll take those other guys later. But I think Theodore could be that guy this year, that kind of like late defenseman who ends up power play one. So,
hmm
but again, don't take the risk in early
Yeah.
rounds because it's just not worth it. Even if he's power play one, he doesn't get you any bangers. But it's just
Mhm.
something to note. And then we had already kind of mentioned it, but on Rangers, I think the biggest loser from this is probably like Gabe Perreault, who might have had a shot at power play one, or Will Cooley, or whoever you think was going to be that fifth power play guy.
But I don't think it's a major L. Like those guys didn't have any cemented role before. I think like
true.
the opportunity becomes more gray. Like
Yeah,
they could still get a shot, but it's
100%.
less clear now.
Oh, I think
Lauffel's
four of those
always
five
going to be the main guy.
Yeah, 100%. I think 4 of those 5 spots are locked in that power play. I think it's going to be Miller, Zibanejad, Fox, and Dorofeyev. And then the last spot is like if he can work with it, he'll keep it. But they'll easily bump him off for Gabe Perreault or Will Cooley if the power play's not clicking. So definitely something to keep an eye out on. But like someone like Perreault, I have no interest in if he's not power play one because he just doesn't get any category coverage.
He's the type of guy that's going to become a streamer like halfway through the season where he gets better deployment.
Pretty much. All right, next we have the much alluded to previously. Ottawa acquired William Eklund, Kasper Haltunen, and Brandon Svoboda from San Jose for the 9th overall pick, which was that was one of them that they got from Florida. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I like this for Ottawa. Yeah. I feel like Eklund's a really good player. I'm surprised San Jose was really
I think it makes
easily
sense.
willing to get rid of him, but they have a lot of guys that are like playing those winger positions.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of depth there, and I think it was specifically with 9th overall, they had a guy they really wanted there, and they knew they had to take, they took Stenberg at second?
They took Stenberg.
Yeah, so they were like, we're taking Stenberg second no matter what, and then they probably heard, this guy's going to drop down to 9, we really want him, and I think they got their guy at 9, so I think it worked out for both sides, but I think that's a great use of those assets that they got from Florida. For Brady, I think that was a great use getting Eklund because on San Jose he may have been a bit buried. They had a lot of wingers. On Ottawa, he's gonna have the chance to shine. I think that this is the year Eklund has a breakout.
Yeah, I think he's right away their second best winger on the team, like behind Bratherson.
Yeah,
I don't see a better winger. Like he's better than Zetterlund. He's better than Burakovsky. Ottawa doesn't have that much depth. I think 100%. He's going to get a chance to play a lot of minutes, and he's going to be playing in the top 6 the whole season. Whereas last year we saw him get and power play one. Power play one basically feels like a lock at this point. Like I don't want to speak too soon, but it feels like a lock.
I think it's a lock because it's going to be Stützle, Batherson, Sanderson, Cousins, and Eklund.
I love that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. I think that you look at the guys last year.
Cousins again, man.
Yeah, I'm going to steal him from you this time.
Nah, you can't. I'm going to draft him where I drafted Will Cooley.
Yeah. I think that like who they have to pass him, and I think so looking back last year, Ottawa had an unreal power play. Some of those top guys had like 0.4 power play points per game on the season, right? So Eklund, who's a guy who was flip-flopping power play 1, power play 2 on San Jose, a team that had a way worse power play. This is the type of move that I think might go not fully under the radar, but I think Eklund is going to be a huge breakout candidate this year. When we talk about our breakouts later in the offseason, I think he might be one of the top of my list because of this change of scenery. So whoever's listening now, I think jot this down. William Eklund is going to be a steal in the draft for where his ADP is.
He might be a nice fire pick this season. The lead up.
I don't hate that. Yeah, I don't hate that. We'll see. We'll see when we get to it.
I think he goes to a situation where he's going to have consistency and he's going to have opportunity, and I think that's what he was missing in San Jose. So I just feel like he's set up to succeed.
This is a classic. He's young. He got drafted highly. He has potential. He's shown flashes of being really good, and now he's being given the opportunity out of nowhere. So it's going to be a huge year for him.
Just like when Florida got Brandon Hagel.
Tampa.
Yeah, sorry.
It's in Florida. You're good.
There's 3 teams that got all the players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I love that for Ottawa, and then for San Jose, I don't think it really changes that much because he was flip flopping power play 1, power play 2. All right, next we have Washington, who was pretty busy this offseason. We're going to get into a bunch of their stuff. They acquired Jordan Kyrou from the St. Louis Blues for a first-round pick, Connor McMichael, and Milton Gastrin. So I think does Kyrou immediately slot into power play 1 on Washington?
I think he has to.
Yeah.
It's going to be him or it's going to be Leonard. So
It's got to be Kyrou over Leonard. I feel like you don't make this trade if you're not going to put him on power play one.
Because it's going to be Tom Wilson, Ovechkin, Chychrun. That's the three. You probably got a center like Dylan Strome on there.
Yeah.
Then the one last spot. It could be Alex Tuch.
I was going
to be Alex Tuch. But Alex Tuch was not even power play one in Buffalo. So
yeah, I think it's more likely to be Kyrou. That's just more in his wheelhouse and there's what he brings to the table. So I think he's going to be power play one. I think this is another one of those cases, not to the same level of William Eklund, but I think this is one of those cases where the change of scenery can lead to a big bounce back after a really disappointing year for Kyrou. So I like what I see there. And for Washington, they're clearly making one last big push with Ovechkin's last year. So I think they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. I still don't necessarily think they're going to be that amazing, but a lot of the moves they made were very win now, and figure out the future in the future once Ovi retires. So this is going to be a good year for them.
And I'm like, I think this is a very solid team. Like, this is a playoff team. Like, this
absolutely.
Is, in my mind, like they could be one of the 2 or 3 last teams in the playoffs. They have 3 very solid lines. Their fourth line, I don't hate it. And I think they have, Cole Hudson that could be given more room to play as well. Like, he's going to be the second power play quarterback on the second unit. It's probably going to be one of the better second units in the league, I think.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think Washington is going to be easily top 3 in their division. And I think that it's just all the guys are older, right? So you look at it, and from a long-term perspective, you're like, ooh, yikes. But from a this year perspective, I think they're going to be really strong. So I like this for Kyrou. I like this for Washington. Quickly on the flip side, Connor McMichael, do you think that, St. Louis does a split power play, right? So he'll be on one of the 2 power plays. He wasn't on the power play on Washington. We saw, he kind of flipped back and forth, let's say, and then we've seen flashes of him being the best Connor Mc in the league. So I think I'll be interested in, I don't know where he'll get drafted. I think he'll get drafted in deeper leagues, but
he'll be
know.
Around 16 to 20. Like,
I'm willing to take a dart throw on him because he, there's potential there, but I'm not willing to bet Kevin's house on it.
I probably wouldn't draft him just because I feel there's dart throws that I like more.
That's fair.
Because he's gonna be the guy that's gonna be like perennial like line 3 power play 2 type of guy in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
I just feel like St. Louis, since they have that split power plays, then he's essentially guaranteed their version of power play 1, which is not great, obviously, but he'll have more shot than he had in Washington. And we saw some sparks from him, so we'll see. But he didn't sign the biggest contract, so not that much money to follow. So, I'm more interested in this next St. Louis one. Let's move on to this one. St. Louis acquired Mason McTavish from the Anaheim Ducks for 2 first-round picks. I'm very interested to see what McTavish does in St. Louis. I do think that, again, the split power play is just a pain for fantasy. It means more guys get access to it, but it means less guys get that big power play 1 time. But McTavish has been a guy in bangers leagues we've seen. What was it, 2 years ago you had him and he was really solid. So we've seen him be just a kind of solid cat, touch a lot of cat coverage, and he has the potential to be a good points guy. So I'm curious to see what the change of scenery will do for him. He was buried in the lineup in Anaheim, so it'll be interesting for sure. What do you think?
I think this could be pretty positive for him. Like, I think he has, like, he wasn't even cemented on power play 1 in Anaheim, right? Like, he was a guy that was getting bumped on and off. Like, he had like that William Eklund feel to it. I think, in St. Louis, it could be similar, but I think they just gave up 2 firsts for him. So I think he's going to be given a chance to have that role. And I think he's a talented enough player that with given more responsibility and minutes that he can show up with it. So I think there's a chance that he becomes one of those guys that like gets drafted really late in drafts, but ends up overperforming their draft costs.
Like Trevor Zegras from last year.
Yeah, exactly. Like Trevor Zegras, like from last year, or I don't know. I feel like he'll be like a round 12 type of guy. Like, would you rather Mason McTavish or like a Shane Pinto? People were drafting Shane Pinto pretty high last year.
I'm taking McTavish for sure. Obviously, Pinto puts up a shorty every time I play against him, but other than that, not much interest there. So no, I like the potential there for sure. I'm curious to see. I was hoping the Habs would get him, honestly.
Yeah.
With how I think he's a lock for 2C at even strength on St. Louis, and then he's gonna be probably power play 1A if I had to guess, especially like you said what they gave up for him. So line 2 power play 1. It's a good spot to be. We'll see what happens, but I don't mind him as a mid-round dart throw for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the next one. Calgary acquires Simon Nemec and Maxim Tsiplikov from the New Jersey Devils for a 1st and 2nd round pick. That was kind of crazy. Simon Nemec gone. Feels like Dougie Hamilton's going to be gone at some point. They're just putting it all in Luke Hughes' hands and saying, good luck.
Stay healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go to dinner with your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. What do you think about Nemec versus Peterka for power play 1D on Calgary? Who do you think gets it?
I mean, if somebody's telling you right now that they have the answer, they're lying to you. I feel like we're not gonna know until we see some preseason games and how the units look, because it could really go either way. I feel like they
Yeah.
were both kind of like the same profile, where we're like, oh, really high prospect D that has some offensive capabilities. But Nemec is 2 years older than Peterka, so I'm like, maybe he's given the leeway, or Peterka has been there before and he's higher pedigree, and Nemec has had like kind of negative years, let's say.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think they give it to Peterka. I think they just want another young
lean that
defenseman
way.
for their rebuild, and that's kind of how I felt.
Yeah. In terms of the trade itself, I like it for Calgary. I think Nemec is going to be a great player, regardless of how many points he puts up or how fantasy relevant he is. I think he's going to be really solid, and I think a first and a second that was the second overall pick, right? Like that's an easy. I would take that for sure. So I like it for Calgary's point of view. I get New Jersey. He was buried in the lineup. He probably wanted out because he was buried in the lineup. So I get why they had to do it. But I think it's a win for Calgary. And then in terms of fantasy, it's going to be one of them too. I also lean Peterka. I just feel like that's kind of like the point of him, right? Like he's a power play 1 quarterback who doesn't really he's like an offensive defenseman on the small side, not physical, not necessarily the best defensively. What's the point of drafting a guy like that and having him in your organization if you're not going to have him as power play 1? Whereas Nemec, I think, has a more full game, and he can be a power play 2 guy who also just contributes well as a defenseman. So I would lean that way, but I don't think, honestly, I'm too interested in either of them. I feel like this is a similar situation to like last year, right, when like Sam Renzel and Zeev Buium were getting drafted by teams, and they actually had their shots at power play 1, but they were young. It was a bad team, or not necessarily a bad team with Minnesota.
And those were actually pretty good power plays.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you would have wanted the power play 1 defenseman on Minnesota.
Exactly. But this is Calgary, who sucks. And both of them are young guys. Who do they even have on that power play 1 unit who's good, right? Like the ghost of Jonathan Huberdeau.
Matvey Gridin wants a word.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You got me there. Sorry, Matvey. the best Matvey in the league.
I drafted him in my 20-team league last year, and he was actually pretty solid for where I picked him up. I picked him up off waivers in the league that doesn't have waivers.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll say that I'm probably not drafting either of these guys.
No.
And at any place in the draft, not even as a dart throw. I just don't think that there's any point.
This is the type of player that I hate to draft, because it's like you don't want to drop them because they have the deployment, but they're not doing anything for your roster. They have no banger category coverage.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, it's just an L, and I don't want to be stuck holding that bag or feeling any type of way that I don't want to drop. If I do draft them, it'll be in the last rounds of the draft, and I'm like, depending on how my draft went, like if I needed a defenseman and I really punted the category or the position or something. But these are guys that I feel like will have stretches where you pick them up when they're hot, and then maybe it flip-flops between them throughout the season as well. Like, we don't even know.
Yeah, and it's Calgary again, so who cares? All right, let's go to the next one. Boston acquired a J.J. Peterka for 2 first-round picks from Utah. I mean, Peterka is now on his 3rd team in the last 3 years. Yeah. This is kind of crazy. Does he have a spot on power play 1?
2 firsts.
2 firsts, I know, it's crazy. I mean, that makes me feel like pretty good about him actually this year, because who's Boston's power play 1, right? They've got McAvoy and Pasta. And then Geeky. Lindholm at center, Geeky, and Peterka?
Or Zacha.
Yeah, but if you just traded 2 firsts for Peterka, and like you have such a easily replaceable. Yeah. I don't know. I think Peterka might get a shot here. I don't think he ever had a shot in Utah. I don't know why they made that trade, honestly, because he just didn't have any spot on power play 1. And this feels like the guy that if he's not power play 1, then why do you have him on your team? So I think this could only be good for Peterka, but it might be nothing. So I don't know. This is another one of those dart throw ones. So I'm not going to, reach or anything for him, but mid rounds, I could see him going like round 11 or 12 or something.
I mean, I see him very similar to how I kind of viewed like funny enough, like a Jake DeBrusk type of thing. Whereas he could get like 2.5 to 3 shots and average like 0.7, 0.75 points, and you're happy with that for where you're going to get him in the draft, or if you're going to pick him up or something. And if he's on the power play 1, I feel like he could get like a 0.75, a 0.8. Like, I think that's realistic on this power play. That Boston was still awful, but they managed to have
their power play was sick,
pretty serious power play. So
I mean, Pasta will do that, right? When you have one of the best players in the league on your power play. I think that's pretty much all it hinges on. If Peterka's not power play 1, I wouldn't roster him. If he's power play 1, I think there's some potential upside there.
He's going to be the type of guy that's always in the top 6, though. I feel like Boston's not deep enough for him not to be in the top 6. If he's ever not in the top 6, I'm worried. If he's on my roster, I'm either desperately trying to trade him or he's going to be in drop territory at that point.
No, I mean, honestly, even if he's in the top 6, if he's not power play 1 to me, I don't want him on my team. After what I've seen from him in the past couple of years, like I don't think he's a cat stuffer or anything like that.
No, he's not.
The points aren't going to be there without the power play. So, but I do think he's going to start the season on power play 1. I don't think you give up 2 firsts on a team that has such a kind of not a weak power play because they were one of the top ones, but I feel like there's so many bumpable players. Essentially, like I don't think they're married to having Pavel Zacha on the power play or anything like that.
No.
So,
although Zacha did turn up.
He did
in the second half of the season last year.
He did, but I wouldn't bank on that being like an all-season thing for this next season. So I don't hate it as a dart throw. All right, next we have Columbus acquired Val Nichushkin from Colorado for a 2nd, 3rd, and 5th round pick. Big Val, same question we're always asking: is he going to be power play 1 on Columbus? Who's going to be on that power play 1? You have Werenski and Marchenko, assuming Marchenko's still a Blue Jacket by the start of the season. Fantilli, obviously.
By the time you're listening to this, Kyrou Marchenko will be a Montreal Canadian, baby. Let's go.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that would be awesome. But yeah, so you've got those 3 guys as a lock, and then, I mean, I don't see why Nichushkin wouldn't be on there, right?
It could be Nichushkin, it could be Monahan, it could be Garland, it could be Coyle, it could be Ken Johnson, like. 2 of those names that I just listed are going to be on that power play 1.
Yeah, so I feel like Nichushkin probably has an edge over a lot of those guys in terms of like skill. I just think he's better, but I think that
he's better than Charlie Coyle. You think?
I was gonna say honestly, probably Coyle's probably a solid chance there. I know that Bonus loves him and he did really well there, so I could see it being Coyle and Nichushkin as the last 2 guys. But I'd say Nichushkin probably starts there, but he's nowhere near a lock, and Columbus is obviously way less enticing than Colorado. So I'm curious, what do you think of Nichushkin for this coming year?
He's the type of guy that whatever I thought about Mason Marchment last season, I think about Val Nichushkin this season.
Okay, he's the Marchment this year.
He's the Marchment this year, in my opinion. Like he's the type of guy that is like, you're always going to be wondering if there's more in the tank, but he's going to give you a solid like B- production. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see him doing like a 0.8 and then like a 2.7 shots. And,
but he's like giving you like a 0.25 on power play or something.
Yeah.
You're happy with that.
It's a good guy who rounds out your roster. Like, especially if he's on power play 1. So I wouldn't mind taking him with like a late mid-round pick type of thing.
Just this Columbus team, I feel like there's a lot of moving parts right now. And it was just like Werenski wanted out. He literally asked for a trade. Then they're like, okay, he's going to stay.
Yeah.
They didn't even spell his name right in the thing.
Exactly.
That Marchenko was like, we're obviously not trading Marchenko. And then like a month later, they're like, all right, Marchenko's on the table.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like, if Marchenko
and now it's like,
goes,
maybe Kent Johnson, who knows? Like, oh man,
If Kent Johnson has been like a project for like the last like 10 years, it feels like.
Yeah.
And
he always finds his way on my team from free agency just because he has that center, left wing, right wing, and I'm always like, oh, it's so nice.
Yeah. But is it the straight zeros that you look at it, you're like, dang.
Exactly. But he can do it from any position.
I will say though, this makes me worried for Adam Fantilli because I feel like now they're kind of scrapping around to like put, warm bodies that are actually decent.
Yeah.
I feel like what Utah was doing 2 years ago, where they were like, we have kind of like a foundation. Let's just like sign a bunch of these wingers and some of them will work out. Like Chicago did the same thing, like the Bertuzzi and the Burakovskis and whatever.
Yeah.
This is kind of where I feel like Columbus is at, and I don't like it when their teams do that. Because it kind of feels like you're just throwing a lot at the wall and hoping something sticks. Something might not stick.
No. It's just, at the end of the day, I think if they start the season with this roster, then I'm not worried about Fantilli. As long as he has Werenski and Marchenko with him, then he's going to be sick.
If you lose Marchenko, he takes a serious hit for me.
Yeah. Obviously, it depends on the return, but I think that...
Unless they put Matthew Olivia on the first line.
Then
everything will be fine.
All they need to do is get Kevin to play in like 15 different leagues and make sure that he's always playing against Matthew Olivier, and that guy's going to be putting up 100-point seasons.
I could take one for the team, guys. I promise.
Yeah, that would be awesome. All right. Next, we had Nashville acquired Maverick Bourque and Ilya Lyubushkin from Dallas for a 2nd and a 3rd. Lyubushkin was a cap dump. 2nd and 3rd is not that much. Maverick Maverick Bourque is a serious prospect.
Yeah.
Dallas was obviously in a cap crunch. They had to sign Robertson, so they didn't have any room for a Bourque contract. But I think this is a huge win for Nashville. Kind of jealous. I wish the Habs had found a way to pull something like this off. But I think, do you think Nashville could put Bourque on power play 1?
I think it's going to be tough because I feel like they have their veterans that are still there. So if they're doing like a changing of the guard,
you've got Yossi, Stamkos, and Forsberg.
O'Reilly,
yeah, he's still there. True.
You got Marchessault.
Marchessault, they have no allegiance to having him power play 1. I think Bourque could be that 5th power play 1 spot.
It could, but I feel like he'll have to beat out Marchessault, which might not be a hard thing to do. But
100%. So
Marchessault might not even be on this team. Like he's 35, and I feel like
that's it. I think they've been trying to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Bourque has some sneaky upside. I think that's one of those late round dart for throws that could be worth something. You never know. Like he'd have to be power play 1. This is another one of those guys where he's not power play 1. I'm not interested. I know that Jakey doesn't necessarily feel the same way. He picked up Bourque towards the end of last season. Obviously, end of season pickups is different. So you just need them to be good for a couple weeks as opposed to the whole season. But he's the type of player. If he's not power play 1, I'm not interested. But if he is, then I think that he can be a breakout candidate.
I do think, and Nashville had a couple of those breakout candidates last season where we were looking at their roster and we were like, these young guys, like they could take a leap. Like I saw some Matthew Wood that was like, he had some good games.
Yeah, he did.
They had a few other guys. I'm forgetting the names now.
Evangelista.
Yeah, Evangelista. So I feel like they have the opportunity to like give these guys.
They have all these old guys that are just capping their ceiling because like you can't bump them. Yeah.
So we'll see. But I feel like Bourque is the type of guy you draft near the end of your draft, and then you probably cut after a week or two.
Yeah.
And only honestly, in deep leagues. Like if you're in a 12-team league, he's not getting drafted anywhere close.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that he is the type of guy that if you draft him late and he does start power play 1 and he, lives up to his potential, then he could end up lasting on your roster longer than you expect. But that's a lot of ifs. So that's why he's at the end of the draft.
Let me give you a would you rather that might not even be close, but I just thought of it. Okay. Would you rather draft Maverick Bourque or Taylor Hall?
Maverick Bourque for me, for sure.
Really?
Yeah. I thought for sure you'd go on my roster.
Even after what he did in the playoffs?
Even after what he did in the playoffs, I just we're the same. Hall has 0 chance of power play 1. Even with Rod's craziness, like he's not going to get power play 1. So I just have no interest in having him in my roster. Even though that second line was really solid in the playoffs, so I'd take the chance at Bourque over Hall. All right, next, San Jose acquired Darnell Nurse from Edmonton for Shakir Mukhamadullin and Zachary Sharp.
I can't believe how you said that name so fast.
Are you impressed with that?
Were you practicing? You were reciting this in the mirror this morning. You were
no, I swear I wasn't. This was off the dome. Obviously, this is not a huge fantasy relevant. Do you think Nurse's bangers change? Do you think he gets better or worse? Or
I think honestly, his bangers might just stay the same. Like to me, like he's the type of player, and he's going to be given the same amount of minutes. He's going to be on a different team, but like he's. Yeah, I feel like he'll have less of an eye on him there. Like people will care less about him than on Edmonton, where everybody can just complain about his contract every time. So.
Yeah, I view him as like Trouba in Anaheim last year. That's kind of the same vibe I see. Like he got shipped out of like the team he was on for a while. He's one of those bangers guys, like more veteran presence. He'll just bang. He's not going to do much other than that. But he's usually solid for bangers. So I would definitely still probably take him on my roster just late in the draft. I wouldn't be too excited about anything.
I mean, I feel like he could have more value on San Jose than he had on Edmonton.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that crazy?
I just don't think that like the jump is that high. I think he's going to be like pretty similar. But yeah, I think the whole mental aspect of just not having to, everyone hate him like in Edmonton, and then also there's no Evan Bouchard in San Jose. There's no he's going to get a lot of ice. They essentially did not have a decor. Obviously, we'll talk about in the signings as well. They also signed Trouba, but who else do they have in terms of NHL defensemen, right? So he's going to get decent ice time. I think his bangs are going to be solid, and he gets to play with the best player in the world, Macklin Celebrini. So definitely didn't have that in Edmonton.
They have 3 guys that are 32, and they have 3 guys that are 20. It's that's no in between.
Yeah, but not much to say there. I would take him on my team, but I wouldn't reach for him or anything like that.
No.
All right, let's get to some really small potatoes trades before we move to the signings, but wanted to include these because I think they might be relevant. Seattle acquired Mackie Samoskevich from Florida for a first and a second. I've been on the Mackie train for like 2 years now. I think if he's given a chance at power play 1 and given good ice time, I think he could be a solid bangers guy because we've seen the shots and hits combo from him in the past. The issue with Seattle has a billion middle six forwards, so it's not even like he's guaranteed power play 1. He's not even guaranteed power play 2, honestly. So they did give up a first and a second, which makes me think that they like him. So this is a guy I'd keep an eye out on. I don't even think he gets drafted in most leagues, honestly.
He was like a sneaky pick last season because we saw the year before he had some like banger coverage and like he was on the power play and he was succeeding. Then we expected some big things last year and Florida was like, this guy's doo-doo. Yeah. And if Florida's telling us this guy's doo-doo when all their guys were hurt, then it kind of says something. The fact they were able to get a first for him is surprising to me.
Yeah.
And then he goes to a Seattle team that has like 17 guys ahead of him. So I'm like, I think this is just like you wait and see throughout the season if he plays himself into a bigger role, but or else you're not.
This is a watch list guy for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Then we had Minnesota acquired Blake Coleman and Olli Maatta from Calgary for Jacob Middleton, a second, third, and fourth. Just want to throw it out there. Blake Coleman's always a solid bangers guy. So he's a guy that you take late in the draft and just rounds out your roster and randomly just sticks around for the entire season, especially if your league counts shorties. So just wanted to toss that in there, but I don't think there's too much to say there.
Yep.
And then this last one, I think
I actually think Coleman could have, like, there's a chance that he's in the top 6. And if he's in the top 6, he's playing with all the best talent on Minnesota. He's not going to have power play. But I feel like, you know how like Hartman was always like that stopgap in between when somebody got hurt? I feel like there's a chance that like Coleman could like give him a run for his money with that role.
Yeah.
And have stretches
also,
of like...
Zuccarello left, so now there's a spot for a winger. Tarasenko left, so there's definitely room for him to maybe be in the second line. He'll be middle 6, and he's not going to be... He'll be best case power play 2. He should be PK1, though, and Minnesota's just a better team in general. So yeah, I like... it's mainly the bangs also. Bangs and shorties from him. But
he's a guy that's usually like a triple eligible as well, right, on Yahoo? So a triple eligible guy on a Minnesota team that usually has like decent bangers and guys that can like punch above their weight offensively. Like he could be one of those guys that really rounds out your roster.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, we have Edmonton acquired Devon Levi and 7th round pick from Buffalo for a 3rd round pick. They also, we'll get to this after, but they signed Freddie, but they seem to have given up on Tristan Jarry. Big shocker there.
No way!
I know. And so I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with this goalie tandem, right? Because obviously for years, Edmonton goalie is a sought-after position in fantasy, but they always suck. Can Freddie Anderson or Devon Levi be, Devin Levi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, whatever. Can they be the guy that solves their problems? Anderson, I think, at best can do half a season. I just don't think he has the health to carry a full season. So I threw this in there as a low stakes trade, but I just want the name to be out there and people to be aware that he's on Edmonton, and there's always a chance that he can steal some starts and maybe go on a run.
This is the best goalie move that Edmonton has ever made in recent memory, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's not even a great goalie, that great of a goalie move. So I think it just goes to show that what they've been doing has not been working. But a goalie tandem of Freddie Anderson and Tristan Jarry just sounds like a recipe for disaster. I think Anderson he was awful. He had awful stats on Carolina, and that's like one of the best defensive teams in the season. Can you imagine Freddie playing?
With Edmonton, it's gonna be brutal. That's why I think Levi or Levy, he can have a chance here. I think,
but he was like a top prospect on Buffalo. Like they were like, oh, he's the future or whatever. Then that quickly fell off. Like he got surpassed by like 3 guys.
100%. But I think these
maybe he just
prospects
doesn't have the juice. I don't know.
Goalies are crazy. They're voodoo. Like they can have an opportunity somewhere, they don't do it. He's still pretty young in terms of goalie standards, so I think he's going to be given another shot here, and I think there's a chance he runs with it. I think he probably goes undrafted in most leagues.
There's no way you're drafting him. He's going to be the 3rd goalie on Edmonton. He might not even start in the NHL. I think this is a guy you pick up. Like, you hear murmurs of this guy getting called up, and Freddie Anderson's put on IR, you snap him up right away.
That's it, yeah. So this is a watch list guy. Yeah, but I just want to throw that name out there. All right, let's get to the signings, and again, we're starting with the most exciting stuff.
Yeah.
This was crazy. Let's get right into it. Leo Carlsson on Anaheim signed for 5 years, $18 million. The whole Philadelphia Flyers offer sheet. These we can kind of rapid fire through because for the most part, they weren't changes of teams. A lot of them were re-signings, but I was going to say, I feel like we should talk about like the first like
two
Yeah.
because they require like maybe some
and
information.
And then we'll just talk about ones where they change teams, I think.
Yeah. Well, we can mention them and maybe just give our rating like A, B, or whatever.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah?
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, this offer sheet was nasty business, first of all.
It was insane. It honestly made my entire week.
I did not think that Anaheim should have matched, in my opinion. I feel like you're letting go like arguably your franchise player, right?
Yeah.
Big deal. But this just goes to show like this is why you take care of business early. This is why the Habs have so many good contracts on the books right now, and like people are looking at us being like, how did they even manage to do this? Look at every other contract in the league right now. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So happy for us, but for Anaheim, this is really tough.
Huge L for Anaheim. Look, you got to keep your player who's an amazing player. So in that sense, it's awesome. And I think they were in an impossible position because in terms of like pure value, he's definitely not worth this contract. 4 firsts from Philly, who's definitely not a guaranteed playoff team or anything like that, is a pretty enticing offer. But at the same time, Anaheim just made it to the second round of the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying to improve. They're trying to not take a step back. Losing Karlsson for 4 first-round picks, I don't care how good those first-round picks are, you're not getting a player of Karlsson's level with those first-round picks, right? So I don't think the value was there in terms of like a trade. The main issue is that the contract they had to sign him to is just a terrible contract. So that kind of handcuffs them in terms of salary cap. We haven't seen yet what they signed Cutter Gauthier to or Beckett Seneca next year, but obviously those guys now have way more negotiation power because they can be like, hey, look what he's making, and I'm just as good as him or almost as good as him. So it screwed their whole cap structure. It definitely screwed them over in that sense, but I think it was the right move to keep him in terms of the actual team roster and trying to make the playoffs and win the cup. So it was just really exciting, fun times for everyone other than Anaheim fans. I think Philly fans are disappointed they didn't get Karlsson, but I think also at the same time they can be happy with their front office because that's probably one of the best offer sheets that's been sent out in a long time. So yeah, that was
Since
really
the
exciting
Kotkaniemi days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like I just echo everything you said. I feel like they were put in an impossible situation because you can't let your star player leave. Even though I feel like the value in return would have been great, and like them not having a contract like this committed would have been great.
Yeah.
But it's also like that's not how you want the direction of your team to go either, right?
That's it.
You have no choice.
And also like if you're a GM, you have if you're a good GM, you have years in advance of planning, right?
Yes.
You know, okay, these are my guys who, this is where the direction of the team is going. Every year, you meet with your boss or whatever and you explain your vision, but having just blindsided losing your 1C and franchise player who you drafted second overall like 2 years ago is in no GM's plans, and they would have to scrap their whole plan, and it would mess with the timeline of every other player they have. It just wasn't really an option for them, but now they have a terrible contract on the books.
I mean, they got screwed because now what's Cutter Gauthier going to ask for?
That's it.
Like you said it earlier, but like I'm not hearing that he's willing to take a discount. From all the rumors that I'm seeing, he's not willing to take a discount. So we're going to be playing 2 guys. Like he's making at least 15, right?
I feel like it'll be around 15, yeah.
Right? 2 guys combined for like 33 mil. And we have like our whole core for that. So like it's, I know the cap's going up, but you're losing all your extra leeway you would have had with the cap going up because they're just giving these guys these massive contracts. So
absolutely, yeah, no, brutal. All right, next we had Connor Bedard signed a 5 times 15 mil contract. This one is well deserved and I think that's actually a great deal. I think the only issue with that deal from Chicago's perspective is the term. I'm sure they would have loved to lock him up for the full 8 years. We're seeing a lot of these 5-year deals with these stars. I think that they're seeing the cap go up so much and they're realizing that there's an opportunity to make a ton of money on their next contract. And all these 5-year ones also bring them to UFA, so that's even more potential for money. So it's going to be fun 5 years. That's going to be a fun offseason, although realistically everyone's just going to re-sign their guys like it's been happening, but still maybe we'll have some more offer sheets then. But yeah, I think this is just well deserved for Bedard and good business by Chicago for the AAV at least.
Yeah, and they got the next one too because the fact that Bedard is only making 2.5 mil more than Bowen Byram just says a lot, right?
Crazy, yeah. So Bowen Byram signed with Chicago 6 times 12.5 mil. We talked about it earlier. They just had no negotiating power. Look, they're putting all their eggs in the Bowen Byram basket. I would have chosen a different basket, but I think he could still be very successful there. I just don't think he was worth what they gave up for him.
think you get a basket, you make lemonade. So,
Bingo.
and I don't know what they did. They didn't make lemonade. That's for sure.
All right. Next, we had Jason Robertson signed in Dallas. This one was very recently. It was going on for a while.
This could have been crazier than it ended up being.
It definitely could have been. There was talk of offer sheets. There's talks of trades. He was Seattle offered him like $1 billion, and he said no. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, he just no one wants to go to Seattle, I guess. And yeah, he finally signed.
Sammy.
Yeah, he signed 1 year, $12 million. This is, to me at least, this is a very clear. Tyler Seguin's contract is off the books next year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give us a year to get more money, and then we'll sign you to what you actually deserve. And I think that's kind of. I think based on all the rumors about possible sign and trades that Dallas was exploring for Robertson and that they got offered, I think Robertson just clearly wants to stay on Dallas because he could be making. I think Seattle was offering him like
20
or like 18 mil, 20, something crazy like that. So, and it's not like Seattle. Like obviously the team's not great right now, but it's not like Seattle's a bad destination. It's not like they're a terrible team. You know, he for that amount, if he wanted the money, he would have gone there. Essentially, he wants to be on Dallas, which is also fair because they're winning a lot and he's been there his whole career. So, 1 times 12 for Robertson.
Yeah, that's a plus to me. I feel like it's 1 year you had the cap room to make it happen, and then next year they'll end up paying him. And Robertson showed this last year that should have been on that Team USA. He should have been given more credit. He was my ice pick that went terribly bad.
Yeah,
he showed me that he still has some juice in the tank. But I'm glad he ends up staying on Dallas. I think for fantasy it's like more predictable.
Yeah,
and poor Seattle. See, they've been
honestly.
in on all these big guys, and they're dumping loads of money on them, and nobody wants to go there.
Yeah, that's what happens when you sign 12 middle six forwards. You know? But I guess they're trying to get those stars, and no one wants to come. Okay, let's get into some of these where we just give the rating on the contract. So Nico Hischier re-signs in New Jersey, 5 times 11.7. What do you think?
That's a great deal for your star C, captain of your team. The fact that there was even rumors that he was not going to be on the team anymore was a disaster to me. So the fact that they get it done, I think 11.7 in this era is like really good.
Yeah, I give that an A+ as well. I think that's awesome. Trevor Zegras re-signs in Philly, 4 times 9.13 mil. What do you think of that?
I think it's a little expensive, but the thing is like these contracts with the cap going up, they'll look less bad, but I still feel like you're probably paying him a little bit too much. But the thing is like, do you have a lot of star potential talent on your team? No, so you can afford to pay these guys a little bit more.
I give it
fantasy,
a B+.
I think it's good. Yeah, like B+.
Yeah, something like that. And yeah, for fantasy, I think it's a good sign for him. Obviously, he's going to be a part of their future for the next 4 years. All right, Ivan Demidov signs in Montreal, 8 times 9.125.
Less than Zegras. Double the years.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's nuts.
This is the best contract that I've seen this offseason, in my opinion.
Yeah,
we are Habs fans. We're willing to say when Habs makes mistakes. When we suck, we will say it. When we do bad things, we'll say it. This is exceptional business.
Yeah, this is awesome. Very excited. All right, Darren Radish signs in Toronto, 8 times 8.5 mil. I didn't put it in the trade section because Toronto gave a 5th round pick for him. It was one of those sign and trades, but they're taking a big bet here that Radish is going to be the guy that he was this past year for the next, at least 2 years of Matthews being on their team before his next contract. What do you think of Darren Radish going into next season as power play 1 quarterback on Toronto?
I'm worried. I feel like he's set up to succeed because he'll have a lot of talent around him, like Tavares, Matthews, Nylander, Nyes, or what's his name, McKenna. But I don't know. We said that we were going to be really confident in Radish if he stayed on Tampa, but if he went anywhere else, I'd be a little bit more cautious. Was hoping for San Jose, but even then, it's just kind of like San Jose or Toronto. I feel like the situation is the same. Like both are good situations to go to as a power play 1 defenseman. I feel like he's going to get drafted too high for me in fantasy.
That's where I see it as well. I think that he is going to have a solid season, but I think just how well he did this past year, and obviously there's a ton of Toronto fans out there, and there's just going to be so much hype around him. They got McKenna, all this excitement. It's just going to lead to him being drafted too highly, too rich for my blood. I think I'd rather there's going to be more kind of sure bets around where he gets drafted that I'd rather take.
I will say though, in terms of the money wise, like I was like, oh, he got more than I expected. But then when I saw what like Byram went for, and then when I saw what like these other guys that we're going to talk about right after just went for, I'm like, this is probably the guy I'm most willing to give this money to. I think out of the bunch.
With the rising cap and all these other contracts we saw given out, I think it's a fantastic deal for Toronto. I think the 8 years is rough. I don't think that's going to be I think the back half of that contract is going to be bad, but I don't think they care about that. I think they're like, we're just trying to keep Matthews here and be good for the next 2 years because we don't have our own first round picks, and I think this is going to get the job done. So I think for Toronto, this is an A+. They gave up a 5th round pick and then signed him to a great contract. So I'm really, I mean, look, I'm a Habs fan, so I'm not supposed to be excited for Toronto, but I'm excited to see what Darren Radish can do for them next year.
Yep.
All right. Rasmus Anderson signs in Vegas 7 times 8.5 mil. We talked about this already. I give this like a C-. I think it's a terrible
That's
contract.
exactly what I was going to say. C-.
Yeah.
Too expensive, too long.
Yeah. And like this was such a trap. Everyone knew like the entire year. I mean, he was a sell high in fantasy all year, and he was a sell high in real life all year as well.
Yep.
And especially on a team that he's going to be buried in the lineup where he's not even the top 1 or 2 defenseman. Why are you paying him this much? I don't know. He was really bad on Vegas after the trade also. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of this. But Vegas, they find ways out of stuff. So I'm sure, if they have to, they'll go break his kneecaps or something like that to Pietrangelo. Toss him on LTIR and call it a day.
Literally.
Okay, John Carlson signed in Tampa 2 times 8.5 mil. With Darren Radish leaving, it seems Carlson is going to be the power play 1 quarterback. I think Victor Hedman's kind of cooked in terms of power play 1.
I was going to say this is a B+ for me because I feel like it's short term. The money's not bad. And I feel like they have, I think Victor Hedman's still going to be like the guy if he can be the guy. But now they have like the perfect insurance policy of like a guy that's run power play his whole life can just step in and you probably won't see much of a difference.
You think Hedman's going to be power play 1
I don't know
next year?
But I feel like to me it's still he's gone through so much stuff on and off the ice that I just feel like if he wants to be there and he can handle it, he'll get there. Like he'll do it.
So then are you avoiding Carlson because you think there's a risk to him at being power play 1?
I mean, I'm going to be cautious on both of these guys unless we have a clear picture on who's going to be the guy. But to me, this was kind of like when we didn't know who was going to be between Seth Jones and Aaron Ekblad, and they both kind of got pushed down in the draft.
Yeah.
I feel the same way here, except the Tampa power play is always one of the best.
That's it. I think like here the stakes are really high because if you manage to correctly guess which one it is and you get them a bit later in the draft, it can be a steal. I think it's going to be Carlson. I would bet my house on it. And I have a house, so
sounds interesting. Now,
I'm fairly
I would
confident.
not be shocked. I would not be shocked.
Yeah, but I'm pretty confident that it's going to be Carlson. I don't think you sign him to this type of contract if you didn't, want him to be power play 1. I think Victor Hedman, even when he was healthy last year, wasn't power play 1 for Darren Radish, and obviously there's all sorts of off ice stuff going on that we don't know about, and maybe that can all be resolved by next year. I doubt it, and so I'm pretty.
But don't forget, Carlson got like bumped off his own power play in Washington, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
So it's not like he's this PP1 stud right now that's immune to everything, right? So I feel like it's a conversation. I'll give him the edge, but
yeah, you're right. Like it's definitely possible, but I think we got to give the edge to Carlson.
I think it's like 60-40 Carlson right now, but 40 is still a decent percent chance that Hedman just keeps the job that he always had.
Like, to me, I'd go more 70-30, but I can't fault you for 60-40. It's like splitting feathers at that point.
Splitting feathers here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But if they do drop in the draft, I'd be interested in drafting Carlson, depending where. Obviously, it's depending where, but I could see that being something that I buy into. All right, next we had Jacob Trouba signs in San Jose 4 times 8.25 mil. I'm going to give this like a C.
I'm going to give this like a D+.
Okay.
hard for me to find a contract that I thought was gonna be worse than like Rasmus Anderson.
Yeah.
Rasmus
the only thing
at least like in the peak of his career. Like Trouba just feels like keeps getting worse and keeps getting more money and more playing time.
So I wish I could fail upward like Trouba does.
Seriously. Did you see he makes art with like body checking a canvas?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Classic.
Maybe that's why he got this contract. I think this is like San Jose decided that they just want to have NHL defensemen this year. They have a bunch of they have a bunch of cap. They have no NHL defensemen. They're like, let's just sign Trouba and trade for Nurse and have them both on like these like fat contracts because we could afford it. We're good. We're set on forwards. And you know what? Maybe they're just thinking playoffs, right? They're thinking these are guys who you just want big bodies who can like throw checks and then let our forwards take care of all the skill stuff. Like Celebrini doesn't need a defenseman clearly to help set him up or whatever. He can carry the offense on his own. So like I kind of get where they're coming from. I still don't like it. I don't like the idea of, we have
They
all
have
this
money
cap
to
space.
spend, but now
Yeah.
like all the flexibility they had is going to be gone because they paid this contract and Darnell Nurse to
They're paying
a
like
lot of
17
money.
mil to Nurse and Trouba over the next like 4 years. It's just
They were in such a good spot too. And now I feel like they just threw it all out the window.
I wouldn't go that. I don't think they like killed themselves or anything like that. I don't think it's gonna end their chances, but I do think that they threw a roadblock in front of themselves that they didn't need to.
Yeah.
So not a fan. But in terms of bangers, I see him. I mean, I'd take probably Nurse
Same
over
old to
Trouba
me.
next year, but it's the same thing to me. All right, here's a fun one. Patrick Kane signed in Chicago 2 times $8 million. Here's another one where obviously it's a way overpay, but it's only 2 years, so who cares? And I think it's gonna be fun. I think he's. I honestly would draft Kane on my team again. I got him round 15 this past year. Look, the injuries was annoying, but when he was actually playing, and you know what else was annoying? He did get bumped off power play 1 for a short period of time. But when he was playing and when he was power play 1, he was near point per game. He was like 3 shots on goal, high power play points. It's just it's just him being old and missing games due to injuries, like sore back, whatever. But there's no way he's getting bumped off power play 1 in Chicago. I could tell you that. So as long as he's healthy, I really like him. As I could see him while healthy being like 0.85, 0.9 points per game with 3 shots and like 0.25 to 0.3 power play points with Bedard and Bowen Byram. I think Kane's going to be a steal late in the draft. Again, it's a big asterisk on injuries. I think he's going to miss some games, so you have to be, be comfortable having an IR spot open for him to hop on and off throughout the season.
He also may not have the juice to play like 20 minutes a night, like with Bedard or whatever.
I don't think he needs to play that much. I think he just needs to be on the power play and play. He's going to be in the top 6, probably line 2, and but I think it's mainly going to be the power play. Just him and Bedard slinging passes and getting stuff done. He was able to do it in Detroit. He can do it in Chicago 1 year later.
Okay, can I give you a few would you rather's for this one?
Heck
I feel like it's spicy. Back in Chicago playing with Bedard.
Yeah.
Would you rather Patrick Kane or Troy Terry?
Is that taking into account Terry's injury?
I mean, when they're both healthy, let's say. When
they're both healthy?
So I think Terry's coming back in like November-ish.
Yeah, Terry got bumped off power play 1 last year. He wasn't guaranteed, but I love me some Troy Terry.
I know.
But honestly, both healthy, I'm taking Kane. My biggest gripe with Kane is that I think he's going to be on and off IR the whole year.
Yeah, okay. I see it. What about Kane or Gabe Landeskog?
Kane.
Really?
I'm not much interested in Landeskog.
With the category coverage and the PP1?
I don't think the category or the coverage or the PP1 are guarantees with him.
Okay. What about for like Kevin Fiala?
I take Fiala.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, the stats you said, like, that's better than what Fiala usually gives you.
I think the end of the day is like I do think he's going to miss some decent chunks of time. Maybe I'm just biased because I had him this past year, but he's old and he wasn't even injured. He was just like he kind of had a weird bump into the boards. And so it was just every couple of games he needed a day off. He needed a game off just to kind of, get the soreness out. So I think it's just age. So I think that's going to happen again this year.
Okay, last one and it's spicy.
Okay.
Would you rather Patrick Kane? Do you have a guess on who we can say?
No, I actually don't.
Okay. All right. Or Timo Meier.
Oh my God. That's a spicy one. I think I still got to go with the upside of Meier over Kane. Yeah.
Finally, PP1 cemented.
If you could tell me that Kane was going to be healthy all year, then I'd probably take Kane. But
really?
I think so.
What if Kane is healthy all year, but Timo's on PP1 all year?
Fine, give me Timo then, because the category coverage. Okay. But I really think Kane's rate stats are going to be really good. I just don't think he's going to be...
I mean, he was great on Detroit last season. When he was playing, he was good.
And I think his situation only got better here. So I think that it's just, for me, it's just the age and the missing time that's going to be a bit annoying to have him on your roster.
Yep.
Okay, next. Philly signs Tyson Foerster, 8 times $7.1 million. I've always been high on Foerster. I think he's really solid. I'm curious to see if he can crack power play 1, but I think this is a fantastic contract. I give this an A, maybe an A+ even. I
was going to give it an A. I feel like he's the length is great. The salary is great. You're just not sure if he's like that player yet, but he's 24 and he's showed glimpses. Like, this is the type of player you give this kind of contract to.
Yeah.
Like, he ends up hitting his potential this season. 7.1 is a joke. So
absolutely. I mean, he's making less than Jacob Trouba. So, yeah. No, it's crazy. I think I love that from Philly. I love what they've been doing this offseason. Sergei Bobrovsky signed in Toronto, 3 times $7 million. Bobrovsky and Stolarz reunited again as a tandem.
Eee.
Are
Who's
you
gonna stay healthy the longest? Yeah.
So no interest in Bobrovsky this year for fantasy?
I mean, he's the type of guy that I feel like he's gonna get drafted like goalie like 25 or like 22 type of thing. I think
Yeah. I feel like earlier, no?
maybe off of name value, but I
Y-
feel like he's gonna
I
be
feel
like
like
goalie
name
20.
value plus people being hyped on Toronto because people are always hyped on Toronto
Yeah.
because there's just so many Toronto fans and like McKenna and
Mhm.
Matthews bounce back and Darren Radish and I could see
Would you
people
rather Bob
getting in
or
on
like
him.
Jake Allen?
Bob. I don't think Jake Allen's the starter for New Jersey.
Okay, so Bob or Nico Dawes?
Well, I just mean I don't think I think they're gonna make a move. Don't you? You think they're gonna go with that tandem to
If
start the
that's what
year?
it is right now, I mean, I think they need. I thought they were gonna get Hellebuck or something, but
I mean, there's still time. I think Hellebuck's going somewhere. We'll see.
okay, hold on. Let me give you one more name or something.
Yeah, find me an actual starter.
Bob or Greaves?
I take Greaves.
Yeah, you gotta go Greaves, right? That wasn't even
Yeah,
close.
yeah. Love me
Uh,
some Greaves.
Bob or the Bus, Brandon Bussy of the Carolina Hurricanes.
I think well, that's a really good one. That's tough.
Yep.
So on the one hand, Carolina's obviously gonna be way better than Toronto. Bob is way more of a starter than Bussy.
Might be Kochetkov. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. But Bob's gonna get injured. Like he's not gonna play the
Mhm.
full season. He's too old. I think I still got to go Bob though. Just I don't think Bussy is gonna hold on to the starter job. I think he had a fun story last year, but maybe I don't know. I think Kachekov's gonna give him a run for his money.
Bob or
It's
Allmark?
tough. I would take Allmark.
I think Ottawa might be a worse team than Toronto.
I think so too. I just think Allmark's a better goalie at this point in their careers, and he should play more games.
Last year was not pretty.
It was not, but he had stretches where it was. He had
Yeah.
stretches where he was
Near
showing,
the end and in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah, he was unreal in the playoffs.
All right, let's move
All
on.
right. Mason Marchment signs in San Jose 5 times 6.75 mil. I'm not sure what San Jose was cooking with this one. I feel like they're pretty set on wingers, but
Yeah.
look, 6 points like pre-cap rising. This is like way overpay for Marchment. With the cap rising, I'm like, okay, I've seen crazier. I don't love it. I would give it maybe a B.
I think this is like a B minus. I feel like he's a middle six guy that you're gonna
Yeah.
have on your roster consistently. I think that's fine.
Mhm.
This is the type of level. This is the type of money you're giving to like players that are like deserve some length on their contract and like are actual NHL guys at this point. This is what they're making.
Yeah, it's just crazy because Nick Suzuki's making like 7.8 mil.
Yeah.
And like guys like Marchment are making 6.7.
Yeah.
Like it's just wild. But that's the cap rising, right? It was signed 4 years ago versus signed this off season. But yeah, do you think he has a shot at power play one?
I think he has a shot.
I would be very interested if he like
it's gonna be him or it's gonna be like Toffoli or like Michael Misa. I guess is a name that people are putting there.
I feel like there's a lot of options, and it's probably not going to be one set thing. It'll probably be bouncing around over the course of the season.
Celebrini, Will Smith, a defenseman, and then it'll be two of like Toffoli, Misa, Marchment, Wenberg, Stenberg, Chernishaw.
Yeah.
Like it could be any of them.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of options. So, and he's shown some kind of. I mean, I think this is a watch list guy. I don't think he's getting drafted.
Mm-mm.
All right, Jamie Drysdale signs in Philly 4 times 6.5 mil, matching term with his pal Zegras. So, is Drysdale power play one in Philly next year?
I think so.
That could be an interesting power play one.
Yeah, I'll be interested. But he was like a guy that was power play one last year too, and like consistently on waivers. So it's like he's not giving you any category coverage. It's giving like Calgary, like you know. The guy's available, but do you want him? Probably not.
Absolutely.
But I think Philly might be a step up. Like they might take a step.
Yeah, that could be this year's Erik Karlsson / Shane Gostisbehere in the 16th, 18th round. So it'll be interesting to see.
I don't know if he'll have the shot volume, but I like the situation.
True.
Like Philly has some talent around them now.
They made it to the second round. It's not a joke. You know, they're a real team, and I think they have a lot of guys who are going to take a step up. So power play
Mitchkov going to be power play one?
That's a big question. We'll see if you can stay away from Shady Maple. We'll see.
It's actually if you had to say the power play one in Philly right now, who do you think it is?
Okay, so Drysdale is the defenseman. Toss in Porter Martone, the GOAT.
Okay, that's two.
Zegras.
Okay,
with what he's getting paid. Konechny.
Mm-hmm.
And then who am I? It's gonna be what, Michkov or Forrester?
No Owen Tippett.
and actually, I don't know. It's tough.
That's
It's
what I'm
tough.
saying.
There's no
They got
guarantees
some
there.
names that are worth put in there, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. I feel like for
I
me,
feel,
the locks are honestly. I don't even know if Konechny's a lock. I feel like they like
I
his
think
like. Oh,
Konechny's a lock.
you think so?
You
Okay,
gotta
fine. Then put. Well, is Drysdale a lock? Do they have any other defensemen to fight him for it? Really?
Cam York or
Yeah, so
Sanheim.
it'll be
Like,
Drysdale.
nah.
It should be.
Yeah.
Okay, so Drysdale and Konechny. I feel like Martone is a lock. I feel like he's just been too sick,
I
and
mean,
and, and I feel like Zegras too. So I feel like those four are kind of locked in, and then it's going to be one of Tippett or Forrester or who were we just talking
Michkov.
about? Michkov, yeah.
I don't think Michkov gets it. I think it's Forster or Tippett, and I think Tippett they've put on PP2 often. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Tippett's
it's going to
gonna
be
be
interesting to
the
see.
Brandon Hagel, like the perennial
He's
power
so
play 2 that should be on power play 1.
That's it. He's so good, but it's tough. Yeah, it's tough. All right, let's go to the next one. But Igor Chinikov on Pittsburgh gets 3 times 6.5 mil. This was interesting to me. He got traded and
Mhm.
then just kind of played great on Pittsburgh.
Yep.
So I'm curious. Do you think he can be power play 1 next year? Anthony
I
Mantha's gone.
I think it's gonna be him, or it's gonna be
Is Rustin Raquel still going to be on this team when next year starts? I think that's a big question.
If they are, then he's not gonna be there.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be Carlson, Crosby, Malkin,
Rust
Raquel,
Raquel.
and then you gotta be like it's Rust, it's Chinikov, or it's Kuzmenko. And I feel like
Yeah. I feel like it's
Kuzmenko's
gotta be
always like
Rust.
it's like if he's there, he's gotta be power play 1 because what else is he good at type of thing.
Yeah.
And then Rust should just be the guy.
Yeah, but I'm curious if both those guys are even going to be on the team still come next year. If they go, I think Chinakov's next man up over Kuzmenko for sure, especially with this contract. And Chinikov on power play 1 on Pittsburgh, I think could be a really sick pickup late in the draft.
And they just signed Nick Robertson, so who knows if that's another name to put in the conversation.
I wouldn't put him in the conversation, but you never know. All right, next, LA signs Matt Zuccarello to a 1 times 6.5 mil contract. He'll be power play 1. And not that that's that exciting on LA, but
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I feel like this
Yeah.
is the end of Zuccarello's fantasy relevant career.
I fully agree. I think that what's made him relevant the last couple of years has been being tied to Kirill Kaprizov's hip.
And Matt Boldy.
Now that that's done, and Matt Boldy, I think, I would not draft him. Well, in the past couple of years, it's been like, we know he's going to be injured for half the season, but he's like a point per game guy when he's there, so you can grab him super late in the draft. This year, I'm not touching it.
To be fair, though, he's tied to the hip with like a power play that's going to have Panarin and Brandon Clark.
Yeah, Quentin
and
Byfield.
Tempe. Yeah, so there's a chance that like he lucks into another situation that can be valuable for him, but
I just think he's too old, and I think the situation change is not
he's
good.
hurt. Like he's almost 40. Like he's not 34, he's 38.
Yeah.
And he was hurt a lot.
I think he's cooked. All right, Cole Perfetti signs in Winnipeg 5 times 6 mil. I thought last year was going to be his breakout, and he had a truly awful season. So I'm willing to say that I think this year could be another chance for him to have a breakout.
Cole Perfetti is the new Trevor Zegras.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where I was like, I so much potential that was going to be wasted, and I'm like, I'm happy to miss out on if it works out. Like, there's a chance that Zegras gets change of scenery, finds his way. Gets another contract, gets paid. Perfetti might be the same thing. It feels like he was waiting for the opportunity, never came. Then he got the opportunity, he sucked. And now it's just like maybe he finally grows into the player.
Yeah, he just doesn't have cat coverage, so without the points, he's kind of useless. Winnipeg is just getting worse and worse. All their top guys are old or requesting being traded away.
Yeah.
There's not much upside here, honestly. So I think his best bet is getting 0.8 points per game with like no cat coverage. Not the most interesting. All right, Boone Jenner signs in Washington 4 times 5.75 mil. Again, this is what we were talking about earlier with Washington being kind of like win this year because the next like 3 years of that contract are probably not going to be great, but he's a solid asset for like a 1 year to go all in type of thing. Do you think he has, obviously in the past he's been super relevant as a bangers guy who from the winger position can get you face-off wins plus shots, hits, blocks, and then some chip in on points as well. Do you think he has that value still, or do you think at this point it's just all name value?
The issue is that I feel like he could still be that player if he got the minutes. I just don't think he's gonna get the minutes. Like I don't think he sees any special teams, special teams time. So, and that's the issue. Like no PK, no power play. I feel like it limits your time on ice. Like he'll probably be averaging like 14 minutes. I just don't know if that's enough to provide substantial like he's gonna be a banger streamer, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think he'll get drafted in like mid-late rounds, but it's not going to be by me.
What's mid-late rounds?
Like 14.
Yeah, I think later. I think deserves
Yeah,
to be
maybe.
later.
Yeah, just in the past, I feel like his name has been so like he's been like one of those like classic bangers guys, especially face-off win leagues.
But what was nice was he was always on like the top 6 in Columbus and like
and power play one. Like, yeah, 100%. So I think this is the end of Boone Jenner as a bangers goat.
Would you rather Maverick Bourque or Boone Jenner?
That's a great one because it's two completely different players.
Mm-hmm.
I think to start the season, I'd rather Maverick Bourque for the upside.
Mm-hmm.
When I inevitably make a 2-for-1 trade or something, I'll end up
You'll
picking
go
up Boone Jenner to make up that spot. So that's my kind of cop out answer there.
Great, love it.
But at draft, I'll take Bourque. All right, Dan Vladar signs in Philly 5 times $5.5 million. So, but who did Philly acquire at goalie also? I'm blanking right now, but I know they got from Toronto.
Joseph Woll.
Yeah, Joseph Woll. That's kind of threw me off because I thought Vladar, especially after signing this and all that, I was like, okay, Vladar's their guy. But Woll's like a solid goalie. I honestly was surprised Toronto gave him up that easy. I'd rather have Woll. Obviously, there's the injury issues, but I'd rather have Woll long term than Bobrovsky. But again, I guess they're only thinking short term, so I get why they did it. But yeah, I think Vladar is still clearly the 1A. But Woll could get a decent amount of starts. Like I much preferred Vladar when Urson was the backup as opposed to Woll being the backup.
Yeah, I thought Vladar was gonna be a shoe-in because like for what he did last year, like really surprised a lot of us, and we were always like waiting for the shoe to fall, and then the shoe never fell.
Yeah,
that's the expression.
It is the expression.
Okay, perfect. I thought I got that one wrong too.
No, you did. It's shoe to drop.
There you go. I mean, the motion was the same. It was falling.
Exactly. Falling, dropping, whatever.
But Woll is a competent backup, so now I'm like, okay, like they might just not want to have him play like 60 games. Like maybe it's like a 50-30 split type of thing.
It's just scary because if Vladar ever falters and Woll comes in and he plays well, he has been a starter before, so he can do it again.
Yeah.
So it's just, but Vladar should definitely be the 1A going in.
I think a competing team wants a guy that can like handle himself if needed to. So
absolutely, yeah. No, it makes sense. I think it's a great trade for Philly and a great acquirement. I don't know. Whatever. Next, Anders Lee signs in Utah 3 times $5.4 million. I think no interest in him. He's not going to be anywhere near power play 1.
C-, not relevant. That's it.
Yeah. Jakub Dobiš signs in Montreal 5.36 million times 3 years. I think this is another awesome contract for the Habs. The term, I don't like giving term to goalies, so 3 years. I mean, goalies who haven't proven themselves yet, so 3 years is awesome. The cap hit is super negligible. Yeah, so if Dobiš can do what he did this year again, then he's going to get a big payday in 3 years, but we're going to be super happy over the next 3 years. And if he can't, then we haven't screwed ourselves with a crazy albatross contract. So it's a good hedge from the Habs and a good bet on himself by Dobiš. So
I would say it's a B in value. I'd give it a B.
Yeah.
I feel like you said,
goalies are just hard.
Yeah. I just hope we have one with him. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also the whole Fowler part of the equation, right? Which is probably why they didn't want to sign him to anything longer term than that, because I think the goal is still to have Fowler be the guy, unless Dobiš can just keep it up, and then they have some questions to answer. But yeah, and obviously I think Dobiš is no question the starter for the Habs next year. I'd be surprised if Montembeault starts the year on the Habs.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be Dobiš and Fowler's going to be the clear backup.
How high is Dobiš going to be drafted?
I think too high.
You think too high?
Yeah.
Is he a top 10 goalie?
I think he's going to get drafted as one for sure.
You don't think he is fantasy top 10? The Habs are...
He could be. I think the Habs are up and coming.
Like a fifth best team in the league?
Honestly, yeah. And they should only be getting better. So, honestly, look, I think he's... Maybe to me, any goalie drafting that high is too high. But I think he's going to get drafted as a top 10 goalie for sure. It's just he doesn't have the resume, right? He's only done 1 year, and even last year, it's not like he was the starter the whole time. He had to kind of steal it. Like he earned it, and by the end of the season, he was the clear starter and deserved it. But any goalie, we've seen goalies have one strong half a season in playoffs, right? So I want to see him prove it before I'd be willing to take him where he's going to get drafted. But I think people are going to draft him highly and they're going to be happy with him. I don't think he's going to screw them over.
Would you rather have Dobesh or would you rather have Jeremy Swayman?
Dobesh. Would you rather have Dobesh or would you rather have Ilya Sorokin?
Dobesh.
Okay, I think that's a good one. That's a good one, eh?
Did the Islanders make any moves? Like
they lost Anders Lee.
No, give me Dobesh. I there's no way Kyle
Dobesh
Palmieri is a line one winger at 35 years old off a torn ACL. Like there's no way.
Jakub Dobesh or Igor Shesterkin?
I think you still have to go Shesterkin.
Okay, but Rangers could be like 7th in their division, and Habs could be 1st in their division.
Yeah. But I still you still have to go Shesterkin there. I think he's just really
but
it's
it's fun.
I was thinking the Colorado guys, given it's we don't know exactly how that's gonna go.
That's a good one too. Yeah, a lot of that's why I just don't draft goalies, and then you can pick up the pieces, pick up the jewels that are found on free agency. All right, speaking of goalies and jewels that are found on free agency, Jet Greaves signs 3 times $5 million in Columbus. I think that he earned that contract for sure. Probably, I was gonna say probably earned more than that. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with Merzlikins because clearly Jet is the future there. So we'll see what happens. But I love Greaves. I think that he can go later in drafts than he should. I mean, Columbus is just not going to be a good team, but he's a fantastic goalie. So it's going to be a bit frustrating. It's like when you had him last year, right? He's just unreal, but they just keep losing. So I think
the amount of third period losses that I saw where they were winning until like 5 minutes left and they ended up losing was blowing my mind. He's a fantastic goalie. I really became a Jet Greaves fan last season.
Yeah.
Too bad the team falls apart in the offseason right after.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be one of those good goalie, bad team situations.
Yeah.
Victor Arvidsson signs 2 times $5 million in Detroit. I'm just curious if you think he can be power play 1, especially with Patrick Kane leaving.
Nope.
You don't think so? Who's on power play 1 there? You've got Seider, Larkin, big asterisk there, because he might not be on the team to start the year. But let's say for now, we've got Larkin, Raymond.
He could be power play 1, but I'm like would I rather him or would I rather like Bobby McMahon? Give him Bobby McMahon.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, makes sense.
He's like the lowest level player you can have. That's like not an immediate drop.
Yeah, no, that's super fair. All right, Barrett Hayton signs in Utah 1 times $4.775 million. The most interesting thing here is that New Jersey actually offer sheeted him, and Utah matched. So look, I don't think Hayton's going to be fantasy relevant this year, but I'm curious to see if he goes to New Jersey potentially next year or to a different team after this contract's up. I still think he might have some gas in the tank. I just don't think he has a spot in Utah.
There's too many players now.
Yeah, especially they get Trocheck, so that's another center. Like Hayton was playing 1C at some points last year, even though he didn't deserve it at all, just because they had no centers, because Cooley was injured for for a lot of the season. So, but now Hayton's just too buried in the lineup. He's not going to be anything.
He's either going to be the 4C or playing on the wing.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, Alex Ovechkin signs in Washington 1 times $4.25 million. 1 more year of OV. Where are you drafting him? Are you drafting him, or are you too scared of the age?
I mean, I never drafted Ovi even before, so
yeah.
I'm not gonna start now. He's gonna get drafted too high from where I want.
Yeah, Jakey's gonna take him in like the 4th round or something.
Would you rather have Ovi or like Demidov?
I think. Oh, that's a really good question. That's like that's
a good one. Would you rather master for nothing?
He's still got it, man. That's tough. I just feel like Demidov's not gonna give you any backhats, you know. And I think even though he's locked into power play 1, he's not going to be line 1 on the Habs. I feel like I'm taking Ovi over Demidov. Even though like I'm like you know, I've avoided him for years, just being afraid of like the drop off. I think Washington made their team a lot better this year. Ovi's going to get barely any ice time, but it's all going to be offensive zone. It's all going to be power play 1.
It's all going to be power play time. There.
That's it. And I mean, that's all we care about as fantasy players, right? So he still threw the body last year. Still takes a ton of shots. So no, I think I've talked myself more into being more confident about Ovi over Demidov.
I just think it's like the price is more palatable now. Like if the price is what it should be. Yeah. He's still going to be drafted in like the 4th or 5th or 6th round, and I'm probably not going to draft him there.
Ovi in the 6th, I might take.
I don't think I would do it in the 6th.
You don't think so?
No. Like I got Like, would you rather Dylan Cousins
I take
in
him over
ninth,
Will
or
Cooley.
I don't
That's where he
know.
drafted him.
Will Cooley gave me a championship last season. I don't know. Like I give me Dylan Cousins over Ovi. I got Cousins
Yeah,
in the
probably.
ninth. There's gonna
Yeah.
be better players.
That's fair. It depends how far Ovi drops. And
Would you rather Logan Cooley or Ovi?
I'm not sure if Cooley's power play won. That's a big question mark for me. Obviously the upside's there, but I'd probably honestly I'm taking Ovi over Cooley, I think. Again, unless I can convince myself over the course of the offseason with practice lines and stuff that Cooley's a lock on power play one, then
And do you think Ovi could stay healthy?
Ovi broke his leg and then came back like 2 weeks later.
Okay, but he's 40 now. Like,
yeah, but I think this guy
is he gonna want to come back after a broken leg?
I mean, if he's here, it's because he wants to be playing. You know, he signed another year. He wants to be here another year. I'm sure there's another goal record for him to break or something. So, I'm just, I think he's just gonna be slapping shots from where his spot, on the power play, and then just like standing on the ice the rest of the time. He'll like run and make a hit every couple of shifts. And in fantasy, the numbers are gonna look great, but in real life, you're gonna be like, what is he doing?
I feel like we're getting to the point though where, like, in soccer, I talk about this a lot with like Cristiano Ronaldo, where like still a fantastic player, but he's almost 40, and if you have him on the team, you have to try to play to his strengths, but it's to the detriment of the team. Because at this point, like, he's not the same guy, and the team could be better overall if he wasn't there.
Yeah,
and I think we're in the same boat.
In terms of fantasy, that just means he's in a great position because the entire
team is catering to him. But if you're telling me the only thing he could do is stand on the left dot on the power play and rip one-timers, I feel like teams are just going to block that, and that's it.
I mean, we've been saying that for, 2 decades now?
I know, but now he's 40. He's not 30.
Last year he was 39. He still put up like a solid season. So
I don't know.
I'm still look. I'm not going to draft him because he gets drafted too high. But if he was to drop, that's a name I would definitely grab. All right, 2 more. Stuart Skinner signs in Winnipeg, 2 times $3.75 million. I'm just waiting for that Connor Hellebuck trade, and then Stuart Skinner is Winnipeg's starting goalie. Yeah. Still not interested, though. I don't think Winnipeg's going to be good. And
I mean, he could be a goalie that I end up with because I don't draft any of them.
Well, I mean, honestly, same. I'm not going to draft a goalie, so I could end up with Stu Skinner as the Winnipeg starter. But I don't think it's going to be anything to write home about, just because I don't think the team's going to be good. And then we talked about Freddie Anderson in Edmonton. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be a good one. I think that he might get drafted a bit. He'll get drafted late for sure. But I still just don't think he's going to be anything. I'd rather wait and then pick up Devon Levi on waivers when he gets injured.
Would you rather Freddie Anderson or Askarov?
Askarov for sure. I think Askarov's going to be really solid next year.
Freddie Anderson or whoever the starter for Vancouver is, if it's Demko or Lankinen.
Oh, okay. No, I take Anderson over over Vancouver's starter. Yeah. Anderson or Dustin Wolf?
Dustin Wolf, easy. Not even close.
I don't know. Calgary sucks.
I know, but Dustin Wolf's an actual good goalie.
I think I might take the chance at Freddie Anderson,
No, you're falling into the trap. You're falling into the trap.
I wouldn't. You're right. All right. Let's get to the injury section. Get through these pretty quickly because most of them should be back not too long into the season. Connor Bedard injured his shoulder again during the off-season. It's not the same shoulder as last time, different injury.
Definitely worrying, though.
It is worrying. He should be back in November, but it's like, is he becoming kind of a Band-Aid boy?
He's Jack Hughes.
Yeah, that's it. Is he becoming a Jack Hughes type of player? I hope not. Where do you think he gets drafted with this injury? Because he's going to miss the first 2 months, right? Before, I'd say he was like looking at second round, early second.
Like top
now
16 pick.
Yeah, now I'm wondering if he drops to the third.
He's for sure dropping to the third. I think in some leagues he might go in the
third
fourth.
for sure. I'll snap him up in the third. Yeah, no question. I don't care. I honestly don't care. I can lose every matchup in the first 2 months if he comes back and I got him late. Yeah, if I come back and if he comes back in November and just has a great rest of his season, I'd love to get him at a discount.
Yeah, I think I'd do it in the fourth, not the third.
Really, because of the injury?
Yeah.
I guess one thing to say is that, and it's taken me a few years to come to terms with this, is that it's not just about the injury. It's not just about the missed time in terms of fantasy. It's about they missing training camp. We've seen it be really brutal to players. We saw Jason Robertson have that really rough year because of that. We've seen a lot of players, take some time to ramp up. So like if he misses 2 months, then takes another 2 months to ramp up, that's kind of like missing 4 months. So I get your point there. I still just think he's such an elite player.
Absolutely.
And that I think it's worth it in the third when he would be like a fringe first round pick otherwise.
To me though, it's just like I'm just looking at my situation last season. Imagine I drafted Brady, Panarin, Trocheck. Imagine I got Bedard in the 4th and I was just like, okay, I took, let's say I drafted Bedard in the 2nd because I was like, okay, whatever. And then one of my other top 3 picks gets hurt and I'm down 2 top 3 picks for like months. Then it's just like, I don't know if I can, I felt like I was fighting for my playoff life at certain points just because of the injuries I had.
Absolutely.
I feel like already stacking your IR with one so high in the draft, I just feel like you need to be in the same position.
That's very fair. That's very fair. It's also like that early in the draft, there's such good other options. Like, why not take someone healthy?
But if none of your other top picks get hurt, then you can salvage it, right? But you're giving yourself an extra hurdle. I like drafting the injured guys, but really high is tough for my risk tolerance.
I don't necessarily disagree there. I think our risk tolerance is a bit different though, because I'm always like high risk, high reward. I'll take those. So I am interested in Bedard in the 3rd, but I think it's a really risky move because who knows how long it takes him to actually come back and to ramp up again. And at the end of the day, it's not like Chicago really gave him much more to work with, right? So like they gave him Bowen, Byram, and Patrick Kane, who's like 40. So we'll see what happens. But I think that's a big one to watch out for. Another good one here, Seth Jarvis, another shoulder injury as well. Well, not another. I think this is a lingering one he had for a while, and he's just finally getting it taken care of. Now that he's won the cup, he's like, all right, I can actually take take a break for next season. Again, a November timeline. Does this affect where you would draft him as well? I'd say normally he would go probably 4th round, something like that. 5th round.
I think he could definitely fall to like the 6th, 7th, and that's where I'd be willing to take a guy like this. This is the type of discount that I'm willing to take. Like round 5, 6, 7, I'm willing to take the guys that are proven commodities that you're getting a discount on.
I just know I'm going to end up with like both Bedard and Jarvis and just like lose every round, like everything for the first 2 months and be like, my team sucks. But then they come back and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a genius.
If I didn't have Will Cooley for 2 months last season, the first 2 months of the season last year, I still would have been fine.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's a big difference, losing your 3rd round pick versus losing your 6th round pick for the first 2 months.
Yeah.
Next we have Troy Terry, Anaheim, hip injury, also injury timeline until November. This is one that definitely I don't feel the need as much to grab. I think he'll go pretty late, but again,
I think this is one that we're gonna be fighting to IR stash because I feel like he's like the cheapest price of like a guy that's like could be a valuable contributor. Like he's going to go into double-digit rounds, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. A guy like that with that injury is definitely going double-digit, and
then at that point, it's a great pick because you IR stash, you get an extra slot, and then it's like free value when he comes back because you can miss on your double-digit pick anyways.
Yeah. I'm not going to be able to grab him because I'm going to already have Bedard and Jarvis on my team. Although we have an IR and 2 IR plus, so I could stash 3 and then I get 1 injury to start the year and then I'm like, everything sucks.
You got to drop one.
Yeah. Next we had Philip Gustafson of Minnesota, hip injury as well, out until November. This is going to be really interesting because we're going to have Wallstead being the starter for the first 2 months, and if he runs away with it, I don't know what Minnesota's going to do. I mean, Gustafson comes back. You're not going to mess with Wallstead, who's playing well, right? They're not going to go switch to that 50-50 they were doing last year. So all of a sudden, Gustafson's the backup, but you're paying him that contract. I think Minnesota's trading a goalie at some point next year, and I think it's going to be Gustafson unless Wallstead they don't have trust in him. But I think it's going to be Gustafson.
I think they're going to give him the shot to be a 50-50 goalie.
What if even if Wallstead's been like killing it for the first 2 months?
Because they did that last year too, and he has the contract. It's not like he played bad that he lost the job. It's just the other guy's playing good. They're going to give him the opportunity to also play good. If he doesn't, then I think that he could fall off. But
so I think Gustafson could be a big dropper. That could be a 0G one. Do you think?
I would draft him in 0G, but I still think he's going to get taken higher than where I would take a goalie.
Okay, that's fair.
Like I think he'll get drafted in like round 12 or something. People are gonna be like, I got the starter for Minnesota in round 12 type of thing. And I'm just like, I would have taken him in the 16th or something. But
no, that's a really good point. I think I could see that happening. All right, and then we had Charlie McAvoy. He had a suspension at the end of the season, so he's going to be out until October, so the first month. But this is not an injury. This is a suspension, so no worries about missing training camp or anything like that. But just something to note.
This is tougher, though, because you can't IR stash
Oh, true.
suspension
That's actually a really good point. That's a full month of a dead roster spot.
A dead roster spot.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Where do you think he's going to drop? Oh, he's definitely ending up on my team.
I mean, I think healthy, he's probably drafted around like 7-ish.
Yeah, I would
is
say
my
that.
guess. He probably goes in round 9 now, I think. 9-10 for a dead roster spot.
For a month, yeah.
I think that's worth it for Charlie McAvoy on the arguably top 5 power play.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in taking
in our league,
him.
you'll have to take him at full cost.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well then there's no point. I'm only going to take him if he drops, but yeah, that's definitely an interesting one. I didn't think about the no IR stash for a month. All right, let's get to the coaching changes. We'll just like rapid fire these. Vegas hired Ryan Craig after firing, they fired Bruce Cassidy, then they fired Tortorella after taking them to the finals. And now they hired Ryan Craig,
fired him. It was like
I guess, parting of ways. Exactly. And then, this guy is their kind of like homegrown coach from the AHL team. I think he was always the plan to be the next guy. Kind of an unknown factor, but with Vegas's roster, I'm not really worried of him messing up with anyone or anything like that. So I think not much to note there. Islanders fired Patrick Waugh and hired Pete DeBoer. I like that. I mean, I like Pete DeBoer as a fantasy coach. I think he just puts the best players on the power play and lets them do their thing. But it's the Islanders, so do they even have a best player other than Schaefer?
Yeah.
So
it's Schaefer, Horvat, Barzal, and that's pretty much it. The thing is, like Pete DeBoer always has success in the first few years after taking a job. So like 2-3 years, like the team is like he gets the best out of the team.
Yeah.
So, but what's the best out of this Islanders team?
That's it. I don't know. Yeah. So like in terms of coaching change, I like it for them, but it's still the Islanders, and I just don't have much hope for them this coming season. Toronto.
I will say though, it kind of makes me more into like the Horvats and the Barzals
and Schaefer.
Yeah, Schaefer I'm already into.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think he's going to get the best out of this roster that he can. I just don't think it's a good roster, but those top guys should be pretty solid. All right, Toronto hired my mortal enemy and probably the worst coach in the history of the world, Jim Hiller. They fired Craig Berube, and honestly, could not wish it on a team that, a nicer team. I hope he does the exact same thing to them that he did to LA.
This is the only thing that worries me about the Toronto power play that was already struggling, that I was like, okay, all the pieces fit very nicely here.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, this is the coach. I'm like, I don't
Jim Hiller's going to be like, hey, Darren Radish, I know you're making 8 times 8.5, but I feel like Morgan Riley should be back on there, actually.
We need a veteran presence on the
exactly.
I'm worried for Toronto. I feel like this could be, they could either be like really average or like it's just terrible. Bad. It's just bad.
Yeah, I hate this hiring, honestly. It definitely makes me second guess picking Toronto guys because Hiller's just awful. I mean, at the end of the day, the top guys are the top guys. Matthews, Nylander, they're not going to get messed with. I think Tavares might get messed with Hiller because who knows? I think Nyes could get messed with for sure. McKenna, I think, can get messed with, and then Radish is probably safe with that contract. So those are the guys who I would be worried about a bad coach messing with. All right, speaking of bad coaches, Edmonton hires Mike Babcock after letting Chris Knoblauch go. I don't think this is real. I think this is more of a behind the scenes, just terrible situation. But in terms of fantasy output, I don't think this really affects much.
This is the Jacob Trouba equivalent of a contract.
This is exactly. Yeah. I mean, the biggest question is just why would you do this? Like,
why?
I'm just seeing nonstop.
In your last chance to keep McDavid.
Yeah.
You're putting your faith in Tristan Jarry, Freddie Anderson, and Mike Babcock to make everything happen. I don't know how this is supposed to work. If it does, it won't be because of the coach.
To get fired. I can't wait for Bowman to get fired. Honestly, like it's not like I'm a huge Edmonton fan or anything like that, but no one deserves to have their team mismanaged this terribly for so long, and the person who does it just faces no repercussions. So can't wait for him to get fired. But again, I don't think this affects fantasy too much. And then Vancouver hired Manny Malhotra after firing Adam Foote. I'm excited. I think Manny Malhotra is going to be a really solid coach from what I've heard and seen from him. But again, Vancouver sucks, so I don't think
he's got no roster to work with.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't see much. We'll see. Maybe he can unlock Elias Pettersson.
This is who was the coach? Was it the year that like the Coyotes became the Utah?
Yeah.
And there was a coach, I forget his name, but basically
For
like,
which team?
he was with them like their whole like growing pains when the roster was dog water, and as soon as they got a good roster, they fired him. I feel like that's
Oh,
what this
yeah,
guy's.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe it was a different team.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. So why you think Malhotra is going to be with them while they suck, and then they're
Yeah.
going to fire
And then
him?
as soon as they're out near the cusp of turning around, they'll be like, all right, we can fire him and get a real coach or something. Like,
Yeah.
let's get Mike Babcock.
Hey, you know what?
In
People say people probably thought that about when the Habs hired Saint Louis, but he he was with us when we sucked, and now he's still with us when we're being solid. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think we should wrap it up because this was a doozy. But there's just so much to talk about. Yeah.
I hope you guys are happy. You guys better be listening to all 2 hours of this because
oh my god,
we sat here talking. I'm coughing. My voice is dry. My throat is wet. The opposite
my
of
arms
that.
are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy.
Mom spaghetti.
Vomit on the sweater already. Yeah, spaghetti and such.
Yes, and such. But yeah, this was a big off season that we had to cover. Hopefully, a lot of it made sense. You guys can expect more regular uploads moving forward. We're gonna keep them on a weekly basis, maybe 2 times a week moving forward. Might have a little break here or there, but in general, the content is starting back up. Please follow us on all our social medias. The links are everywhere below, wherever you're listening or watching this. Join the Discord. That's where we're going to be posting a lot of the information for the Banger Community Leagues and all our content that we're going to be posting. We're going to be starting up a Patreon this season, and it's going to have some really, really valuable stuff for you guys. We're really excited. We're working hard behind the scenes for some tools for you guys, some rankings, some projections, some helpful advice, all that good stuff you guys can look forward to. This is going to be a huge year, and this is just a start.
Heck yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So on that note, with the voice that I do have left, I will say you can take it away, Ernie.
Ba-ba-da-bow-bow, Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Woo. Woo for Jake.